Happy Monday, everyone. I am back. I know you guys were talking that I wasn't here on Thursday, but I am here today, Monday, for the WGL APAC-ASIA Season 2 Gold Series. My name is Susie Kim. This is Wolf Schroeder, and we have another fantastic day of tanks for you.
We absolutely do. Today's matches should be a little bit closer than some of the matches we've seen earlier in this season. Although I say that, but on Monday, we had some incredibly close matches
Thursday.
as well. Yeah, that's right, Thursday. Today's Monday. My brain's all backwards. But yeah, we had some really close matches. Horsemen really bringing the hype. They were doing really well.
Yeah, so I mean, I've watched the games, and over the weekend, I was really surprised. Kind of sad I missed it, but hey, let's go straight into the overview of how this entire season is going to pan out. We started on November 26th, and today is day number 6 of tanks. We're going to go all the way till February 4th. Again, tournament structure, best of 9, with 4 different maps. Tiebreaker, as we saw on Thursday, we had a tiebreaker game finally, and it's a 8-team double round robin.
Yep, you know, same rules when it comes to attack and defense. But the battle time has been increased to 10 minutes, and we're also going up to the 68-point tier limit. And we do have a few new maps in the pool. Not going to read all those out to you guys because I'm sure you know them by now. And 3 points for a win, 2 points for winning by tiebreaker, which did happen last week with Karen Tigers and Horsemen. 1 point for losing by tiebreaker, which Karen Tiger was able to get that 1 point. And then, of course, if you lose, you get nothing.
I was really surprised to see that. I mean, Horsemen and Karen Tigers really duking it out. You know what? But let's go ahead and introduce the teams to you that are participating in the Gold Series. Like we said, Horsemen, Karen Tigers, the 2 teams that went all the way to the tiebreaker on Thursday. But we also have EL Gaming, Super Noobs, Immortals, PvP Super Friends, Team Efficiency, and B Gaming.
Yeah, you know, we're going to really start figuring out where these middle-of-the-road teams are right now, because everyone already knows, even though EL and Karen both had a tough time with Horsemen on Thursday, you know, those 2 teams are still the top. Horsemen, I would say most people are putting at 3rd place right now with their performance. But if you look at PvP Super Friends, Team Efficiency, Super Noobs, you know, even the Immortals and B Gaming, we're not 100% sure where these teams stand yet. And not all of them have played as many games as EL, Karen, and Horsemen. So I think today is going to be one of those days we start to get a little bit more information about where these teams are going to be.
Yep, and I believe the Super Noobs are doing the doubleheader today. We're going to have them play 2 different games. And on that note, let's go ahead and show you today's matchups. So here we go, Team Efficiency versus PvP Super Friends. That's going to be match number 1. Then we have B Gaming versus Super Noobs, and then Super Noobs coming out again to play against Horsemen, the team that really showed us that, man, they are not joking around.
That's right, and you know, I feel like this is going to be a really good day of matches, especially match 3, just because we saw Horsemen do so well. They defeated Karen Tiger, they defeated you know, EL in many sets. That EL did end up winning the series overall, but just proving themselves so much last week, I feel like they're going to bring that momentum into their matches today. And also, like you said, it's Super Noobs doubleheader, so they get 2 chances to really prove themselves against B Gaming, who was basically top 3 last season, and then Horsemen, who's looking stronger and stronger.
Absolutely, and I mean, go ahead, Team Efficiency versus the PvP Super Friends. I mean, these are 2 teams that have been around for quite some time, so them coming back together. Team Efficiency, of course, haven't been doing very well this season or season 1, but shifts in meta usually means different strategies, and we'll just have to continue and watch to see how these teams, you know, pan out.
That's right. You know, it's been it feels like a quick start to the season. We already had our favorites from last season do very well and kind of pull very far ahead, but it's still early. You know, we're still kind of approaching the halfway point at this time.
All right, so well, let's go right into game number 1 then. Let's go ahead and introduce to you the Team Efficiency roster here.
That's right, Death Skies, D-Juice, Dexta, Elite, Itis, Grifts, Ma, Safi, Monji, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Momiji, Sponster, Skell, and Nomad.
And you know, we were told that this is an Australian team, but you know what? Actually, they are a complete Asia team. There's members from all over Asia. This is very diverse. It's just because, like, you know, Dexta is from Australia, and like a lot of their captains, a lot of the, what's the word I'm looking for?
A lot of their big players, you know, a lot of their...
And the administrative stuff. That's the word I'm looking for. They're from Australia, but the whole team, they're from here and there. And so, I mean, these guys finding the time to really match up and practice together, I mean, I think that's an incredible feat within itself.
That's right. And here are the Super Friends, the names you can't forget. Batman, Little Mac, Kane, Tadamaru, Superman, Spec Ops, Q, Robin, Antare, Imbalance, and Get Side. But obviously this team is newer to APAC's Gold Series here in Asia because we didn't see them last season, but they have done incredibly well in other seasons in other leagues in Asia. So even though it looks like maybe it's one of the new challengers into the league, they have a lot of success. They have a lot of, history to back them
Yes,
up.
they definitely do. And again, this is another team that's very all across Asia, scattered all around as well. And I mean, this is the APAC-ASIA League after all, I suppose. Man, it's really cool to see that these teams are representing the entire region and not just one country.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this kind of stage of a tournament like this, where everything is kind of done online and everyone can practice online and train together online. And World of Tanks is a game that you can play with your friends no matter where they live, no matter where you live. As long as you got an internet connection, you got those tanks, you can just get in the lobby and practice some games.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think for the first matchup, we have the map list. Here we go. First game is going to be on Ghost Town. Then we have Mines.
Prokhorovka?
Yes, thank you. Oh gosh, I've been gone a week and I can't.
You were getting it down so
well.
well.
I know, I reverted back, guys. Himmelsdorf, and then the tiebreaker map will be on Cliff.
Yeah, so a really good set of maps. Himmelsdorf being the fourth map, a bit unusual. It's usually kind of the first map or the second map. It's become now officially the most popular map in the tournament, although it did slide down to fourth. I would say right now, Ghost Town, Prokhorovka, and Himmelsdorf are top three. Mines is close behind, and Ruinberg is gaining popularity, but yeah, we'll see if we get to Himmelsdorf, if we actually last all the way to those 4 games.
We will. And being that Ghost Town right now is currently my favorite map, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, Ghost Town's one of my favorites as well. I feel like it's a really exciting map. It's a map where we've seen a lot of strategies already figured out, and we do see a lot of really cool battles happen early on. Not a lot of sitting around and waiting like Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, Himmelsdorf, Himmelsdorf is also a good map, but like I said, you guys know I really enjoy the big action, and so Ghost Time will be able to give me that. And speaking of which, I think game one is just about ready. Here we go. Welcome to the first set of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Team Efficiency versus PvP Super Friends, and we have the Super Friends on the attack first.
All right, so let's take a look at these lineups. Looks like the lineup for the Team Efficiency team on the defense is going to be more E5 based, with a Conqueror actually coming in and just one E100, whereas the Super Friends are going to bring two 215Bs, two E100s, an IS-7, a 5120 even, and a T54 medium to kind of finish things off with that tier 9. But without bringing any E5s, it looks like the Super Friends are looking for more consistent damage. And they're going to bring two E100s to protect those tanks. So looks to be more of a slow push type composition to eventually end up in the center capture point. But let's wait and see what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, being on the defense, what do you think of Team Efficiency having so many E5s with them?
Well, I think they just really are expecting to end up encountering a very aggressive push. And they are, in fact, going to push forward themselves here. And here comes that first battle already.
Oh, wow, already here at base capture number 1, we could see both teams just want to get head on with each other. Ooh, Itis goes down, he blows up right away.
Yeah, Batman got a great shot off at the beginning too. And look at this, now the E100s are going to help block here. Now they need to keep the 215Bs protected as best as they can, because that's going to be their main damage dealer here.
I really like what Nomad is doing here, where he keeps slipping back and forth with the building, trying to make sure he gets his shots off, but he keeps himself very protected. Look at him, he hasn't lost any health just yet. Oh, I spoke a little too soon. But yeah, this is just a big shootout. This is exactly what I wanted to come back to, Wolf.
Well, it's just for you, Susie. Game number 1 is fiery. Dexa does take out Antari, which is a pretty impressive feat versus that E100. Got him at the right angle there.
Ooh, Nomad does go down, but Spec Ops is surrounded at the same time. This, it's a bit sloppy, I have to say. It looks like all of them are kind of YOLOing their way into a fight, and slowly but surely, Team Efficiency down to 2 tanks left. Yeah, 2 tanks.
Yep, 2 tanks left. It's going to be Dex on an ST1 and Ma on the E100. And obviously, as you can see, Super Friends are basically ignoring the E100 because it reloads so slowly. It's just a big blocker. It's just simply going to block Kane and push him back.
Batman and Tedamaru just went ahead and made sure that they can kill off Ma. I mean, Dexter, they just left him in the corner. They're like, we'll deal with you later, and deal with him they are right now.
Yep,
Dexter
he's going to be the last to
taking
fall.
quite a lot of damage there, and PvP Super Friends going to go ahead and take set number 1 in a, I don't want to even say in a convincing fashion, because it was just kind of like a big shootout,
Sure.
which I have no problem with. Let's get that clear. But
she loves it. That's all she's about.
Possibly, maybe in the next game, we'll see a little more strategy and utilization of the buildings around.
Yeah, well, I feel like I don't want to oversimplify things, but I feel like where things really went wrong for Team Efficiency was their strategy was all kind of push-oriented with those E5s, but they got caught at a weird angle. They got spotted early, so they couldn't actually form up and fight together and do that kind of focus firing that they wanted to.
Yeah.
I think they were hoping that they were going to ambush from the outside Super Friends where 1 or 2 tanks were poking out. They would focus fire them down and get an early tank advantage. But unfortunately, because they got spotted so early and there was an IS-7 on the outside to absorb a ton of damage, then the E100s got into position. It was a brawl that ended up slowly just over time going into Team Efficiency's favor, or excuse me, Super Friends' favor because they had that early advantage.
Yep. All right. Well, that was game number 1. Now Team Efficiency get to swap sides. They're going to go ahead and be on the attack. I mean, this might be the good time for the E5s, I think. But we'll have to see what kind of strategy, if they're going to play a little bit slower this time, or maybe they will just bring in the same tanks and push as crazily as they did the first time around.
It's totally possible. I feel like on this map, sometimes, because unfortunately, well, there's obviously pros and cons of this, but because we're only seeing 2 games on each map now, you don't get to see, the attack side develop into 2 games and the defense side into 2 games. It's hard to guess what a team is going to do on a given day until you see their tank lineup because we haven't seen them on attack yet because they just switched, so we'll have to wait and see what Team Efficiency's got planned. But based on what we saw them do already on the defensive side, I think they're looking for a fight, and I think they might try to push into the center. But they definitely want to bring a few more E100s with them, I would say, this time if they're going to do that.
That might be helpful to at least protect the E5s, right? So that they don't get burst down too quickly. They did have that E100, which they left him to the end.
Yeah.
So
he was just unfortunately irrelevant there at the end because he was a slow tank and he was 1 of 2 tanks remaining.
All right, well, let's see what they do in game number 2. Set number 2 has begun. Team Efficiency versus Super Friends. Super Friends did take that first game, and now Team Efficiency, they're the ones on the attack.
Team Efficiency isn't really changing it up all that much. In fact, they've removed the E100 out of their lineup entirely.
And now it's the 50B.
And the 50B is going to be their autoloader. They brought in E4 with all their E5s just for a little bit of extra speed. And Dexta is going to be on the T54 Lightweight, which is going to give him a little bit more scouting information. On the side of the Super Friends, they're bringing almost all E100s, 4 of them in fact, and a 215B, and those 2 Tier 9 T54 mediums.
Oh gosh, okay, well Super Friends with their E100s, like you said, very tanky, very defensive, but they are pushing together. Look at this little trio of E100s just coming along. They're going to head over to base capture number 1. I think that's where they're kind of assuming Team Efficiency is going to go, and a very good assumption it is. But what they don't know is that the entire team's there.
Yeah, and the T-54s are going to be out of position, which will take away some of their damage, but those T-54s can come back. It's cool that they have these E100s, though. They're going to need to block for the 215B. Tedamaru is going to be their big damage dealer here.
Yeah, is he really going to be able to do... I mean, I guess if all the E100s decide to focus fire on specific tanks, it might be okay, but like you said, the reload time on this tank is really
pretty long. It's definitely... The focus fire is going to be important. And it looks like the Super Friends composition is basically designed to wear out Team Efficiency and just kind of grind through this game. But the 2 T-54s are coming up now slowly around from the south. With all these 6 senses going off, most everybody knows what is going on at this point in the game. All the communication is happening.
Safi and Skell have not been detected just yet, though, and I kind of like that. It's like a surprise element, if you will, once the game starts. But nobody here wants to make that first move. You can see that they're just going to stand on the other side of this little... Ooh!
Oh,
never mind.
They revealed themselves now. Batman gets
They sure
shot.
have.
And he's taking a lot of damage because his angle was not the best there. He got hit a little bit under his turret, so now he's down to about half health. So that's a good start here for team efficiency.
All right. Everyone be quiet. You don't want to give away your position.
I mean, it's very, very quiet in this game so far. Very little movement here, especially from team efficiency. Okay, they're edging forward now.
Yeah, I could see here. We can see team efficiency. They're just going to edge forward. Again, they're all detected. Six senses are off. Oh, gosh. And one of the T-59s have inched their way over here. Oh, I'm sorry, the T-54s. I can't read numbers, apparently.
Sorry, you were on a long flight.
I have been, guys. I literally got off a 12-hour flight, came straight to the studio because I couldn't get enough tanks with you guys. But you know what? Look at this. Look at all these shots being traded.
Yeah, and you know the trade has been pretty decent for Super Friends overall.
Yep.
Because team efficiency is not putting off the consistent damage with the E5s, the reload time is almost negligible because by the time they're engaging again, the reloads are set. And Safri might get, before I can even say it, down he goes.
Safri does go down. Maw seems to be the second one to do so, but you know, Batman, Ted Morrow, and Kane, they're all very, very low over on the Super Friends side. There goes Batman. That's one E100 out of the way. And if Team Efficiency can just keep themselves protected and deal out the damage, I think they might be able to come out with a win here.
Yeah, I mean, Nomad is the key. Nomad is one of the keys here.
Yes, he sure is.
I was just looking at him when I was saying that. The key is just to try to outlast these slow reloading tanks.
Yes, Itis does go down. It is still it's a 4v5.
Yeah, Ted Amaro is still alive, and he's obviously putting off a lot of damage here, but he's very vulnerable. If Nomad was focusing on him right now, he could be taken out, but good protection here with those E100s, and we're going to see a T-54 versus a T-54 lightweight here.
Yeah, but this is not going to be enough. I mean, Team Efficiency, I think we're in a very good position to be able to defeat Super Friends, but it just seems that the focusing and the avoidance of these shells from Super Friends was just a little too much, and oh, goodbye, Nomad. He goes down, and PvP Super Friends takes game number 2.
I feel like overall the positioning was what won that game for Super Friends.
Yeah.
Because their tanks were very slow. They were slow reload. They're not, not consistent damage. So if you miss your shot, it's really tough to follow it up. But because they're always around the corner and Team Efficiency couldn't overwhelm them or surround them, every time they revealed themselves for just one moment, E100 got a shot off. They basically never missed, and they did all their damage. And whenever one did a shot, it would move to the back. The rest of the ones that could fire would be up at the front. They kept rotating their positioning, and eventually, they ran. Not that they ran out of steam. It's just that they couldn't break those E100s anymore.
Yeah.
Too much defense.
Like I said, if Team Efficiency just kind of played it a little more defensively and hid themselves a little bit better, I think that the name of the game there was to avoid the shells and dish out as much damage as you possibly could, which they had the tanks for. But like you said, the E100s just were positioned a little bit better to block all those.
I feel like maybe another solution for that problem for Team Efficiency would have been to try to go around that conflict zone. And I think that's what those T-54 mediums were for. On Super Friends' side, they were looking for that. Are they rotating? Are they going to try to pull, trip us up here? And the T-54s found out that in fact no, they were all just kind of staying in the same place. So eventually they just decided to wait it out, be patient. They were on the defense. But going into map number 2, we're going into mines now.
Yep.
So this map is very differently played now than the way it used to be played last season. Last season, every now and then, you'd have a team like TCSG do that kind of big brawl thing, but otherwise it was mostly calm and slow playing. But now it's like everyone's fighting over the mines almost every game at the very beginning. And the winner of that location takes an advantage, but the game doesn't end there. There's, you can escape, you can slide down into the water and stuff like that.
I've noticed that too. A lot more brawl right by the mine entry point. But we did have seen. Oh gosh, my English is even faltering today. We did see some teams still use the old method of going down by the lighthouse and to the beach front and just play a much slower game. So we'll just kind of have to see. But you know what? Considering the first 2 games, I have a feeling we're not going to see a slow game on mines.
I don't think so. I think Team Efficiency is going to bring the fight. I wouldn't be surprised if they ran a heavy E5 composition again on this map.
Yeah.
Maybe even with 215B with it. They're just insanely aggressive. They've been showing us games like that. The only teams that really have been showing a slower play on this map are like Karen Tigers, roaming around the outside, Immortals as well.
Okay. All right, well, here we go. We're going to go into the first game here on Mines. All right, guys, this is set number 3, Team Efficiency versus PvP Super Friends. Super Friends have taken the first 2 games, and they are going to be on the attack first here on Mines.
Well, looking at the tanks, it's actually the Super Friends that are bringing the E5 with the 215B lineup on the attack, which does make sense. They bring in RU251 as well. But Team Efficiency is bringing 3 Object 140s, which are, to compare them to last season, like the T-54 lightweights to a certain extent, they're faster.
Right, they're like the quote-unquote lightweights. They're zippier and lighter. They're just not like that super heavy E100 kind of tank.
They're not moving slow like these tanks that are going to try to rush up here and take control of the mine, which they will.
All right.
Safi is going to be on that bat chat, so he's going to be the real damage dealer. They need to protect him.
Okay, here we can see Team Efficiency are going to go down by the beach and the beachfront. Maybe this is going to be a slower game than we expected it to be.
Yeah, well, Super Friends are met here with no resistance, basically.
Absolutely,
there is some
they're here. They're going to take this ground right by the entrance to the mine. This is usually a very contested zone, but no, I think Team Efficiency are going to play a little safer, a little more defensive, and make sure that they don't get blown up right away.
Yeah. Really interesting how this one has turned out so far. We have seen a few teams defend like Team Efficiency is doing. Karen Tigers comes to mind. And they're just basically, Super Friends are going to have a tough time getting into good position versus all that support fire. Because the Object 140s are decently accurate at a long range, like across this waterfront. So, they need to be careful about how to position. They probably want to just try to figure out how to control that before they just try to walk in.
Right, well, here's Kane on the RU251. Very fast little tank we've seen before. Just scouting out, seeing what's there. Oh, he has definitely seen Dexter. Dex is going to try to come around and see if he can take a shot at him. Not sure. They might do a little rock dance here. Oh, but during the rock dance, yeah, I love it. I love how member of Team Efficiency was able to, take that shot. Yeah. Dex's job is just to keep him there, I suppose.
Yeah. Kane's probably going to die here. In fact, one more shot from Dexter will finish him off if he can hit it.
And that would be a very good advantage for Team Efficiency.
Ooh, but he baits him, and he dodges it. Whoa, Batman the sniper. Someone put a bat logo in the sky.
He sure did. That was pretty impressive. Kane. He's like, where's my flashlight? I need the bat logo.
Put that bat logo right in the sky. Batman did not hesitate to deliver. And what seemed to be a nice early advantage for Team Efficiency went wrong. Again, it was only a tier 9 tank that Dexter went on, but he's their captain, really. He's their shot caller in this lineup, so it's tough to have him taken out so early. And
well, maybe in a way it'll be good. He can look at the entire mini map and be able to dictate what's going on in this game a little bit better, and maybe bring a victory for Team Efficiency on this map. So now, yeah, you can see here we have members of Team Efficiency. I mean, they really don't need to be taking these shots right now. 7 minutes left on the clock. Super Friends are the ones on the attack, remember?
Yeah, it looks like Super Friends are going to go sweep up the beach. They're going to send Q and Batman across there right now. The 215B is looking down the center to make sure no one moves through that location. And they're going to basically just push these Object 140s and T-54s off because E5s are going to beat them in a straight-up fight every time, as long as they don't really mess up the engagement.
Yeah, wow, Q and Batman, they're looking, they're hunting. You can see that they know that there are tanks out here, and Q and Batman have both been spotted. Bringing imbalance as backup, these 3 E5s are going to do massive damage here. I think they're just going to go ahead, focus fire on Ma. I don't know what Skill and Sponster can do on these Object 140s as 3 massive tanks are coming at them.
They'd really have to time it perfectly in between these reloads and work and fire while moving back, which is basically impossible. Looks like instead of trying to do what the crazy suggestion I suggested, they're just going to back off and try to regroup with the rest of their tanks that are inland.
Right, and as they're getting chased, they're hoping that the inland tanks can do some damage onto the tank. But you know what? While that's happening, they've got some inland tanks as well. Super Friends They are not going to fall for this trick.
Oh man, Antari was so vulnerable there, but no one capitalized on that. He just walked through the entire tank army. Spec Ops gets very low, meanwhile, though, and does get taken out.
He does, but it's still a 1-for-1 as Nomad does go down with that. Here's Ted Morrow versus Skell, and now it looks like Team Efficiency, they're just going to bring the fight to them onto the mainland.
Sponsor, it looks like he might be the next to bite the dust as he's very vulnerable now.
He is just burning away, and he goes down. The RU-251, actually, that's the one who's going to finish him off.
Kane is like MVP of this game. Well, unfortunately now, this is not going to be, for the Team Efficiency team, a very fun end of this game because they're just falling apart.
No.
Safi is there to do some damage, but he doesn't have enough support. Tenamaro does get killed.
He does. I mean, I was watching that. He was being focus fired down, which was great. That was a really good move, and it's a 4v4. I mean, technically this can work, but if you look at the hit point difference.
Yeah, and the tank lineups themselves, and we're talking about Batchat and a tier 9 tank with 2 Object 140s that are nearly dead versus E5s, 4 of them.
Let's get rid of Maul goes down, and it looks like another 140 is going to go down. Imbalance versus Itis. Sorry, it was Q Imbalance versus Itis, and thus a 2v1. Antari does go down. Skell very, very low. So low, in fact, that he's at 0 now, and Safi being the last one standing.
He doesn't have enough to tear through all that armor. He's going to try. He might be able to take 1 tank with him, but I think that's going to be his best bet here. If he's really lucky, you know, maybe he can actually turn this fight around, but he has nowhere to run anymore.
Right, and once he's out of shells, he's done.
Exactly.
You know, he's just going to have to wait for that reload. Technically, I mean, I guess if he can run away, there's only 3 minutes.
I think he has 2 rounds left, if I'm not mistaken, or current UI doesn't actually tell us, so I'm not 100% sure, but we'll have to wait and see. He is, you know, like you said, he does have the potential to run away.
I think that's what he's going to do. Yeah, he's just going to run away, see if he can hide, and then if the members of Super Friends decide to start capping, he can just try to reset that timer. But remember, there are 3 of them.
That's right. So, I mean, the other thing, too, is maybe he's hoping that they're going to spread to try to find him, and then maybe Imbalance gets killed then, because he can technically kill Imbalance if he hits 2 shots in a row before Imbalance can hit him. You know, he can actually get a kill that way. But they are going to go for the base capture, which
I think so, yeah.
This is a smarter choice, in my opinion, so I agree with Super Friends here on this one. And Safi's, of course, going to be forced to go back and deal with this.
Luckily, the Batchat is really fast.
Oh, they're just going to leave 2 in there. Imbalance is going to get protected by Batman, and Q's going to wait to kill him.
Q is just going to snipe. It's a trap, Safi, be careful. Oh, God.
He knows, too, because he knows the base timer is going down at such a rate that there's only 2 tanks in there.
I know. So he really needs to be cautious. Be wary, dude. There's a tank out to get you. Actually, there's 3 out to get you.
Oh, misses Imbalance, but survives for 1 more shot.
He does.
Down he goes, though, in the end. A valiant attempt, but it will be Super Friends that takes game number 3. And this is starting to look like a bit of a more one-sided series than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it definitely does. I thought that was very well played. Safi did try to be hero at the end, and I'm glad that he didn't at least just give up. You know, run in there and be like, kamikaze, I'm dead. He, you know, at least wanted to give that a try, and valiant effort by Safi.
We saw a few moments in that game where things went wrong for Team Efficiency, like trying to kill Kane, and Batman got the kill on Dexta, which was a big, nice early blow for the Super Friends. Then we saw afterwards, one of the tanks was coming inland, and there were 4 Super Friends tanks that were still trying to deal with those tanks that were on the island when he was right in front of them doing damage and being ignored. And by the time they refocused on him, I can't remember which player it was exactly, but it was a player that went in there on the 215B, and he was totally exposed but was not focused. And then I think there was maybe some miscommunication, some confusion there for Team Efficiency. And I think that early kill, as insignificant as it is to lose a tier 9 medium, you know, I think that momentum really gave Super Friends kind of the edge. And I think it just seemed like Team Efficiency wasn't able to coordinate their attacks, their focus firing very well after that.
And again, I mean, that has got to be a blow when you have it. You see the RU-251, you're like, I've got it. It's going to be dead just right now. Oh no, I'm dead now. You know, and that moment where you think you're going to have the advantage and you don't, I think that probably played a little bit of a part.
It's definitely a morale kicker. You know, you're like, oh my God, well that was awful. You know, that did not go very well for us at all. But switching sides now, anything could happen here. I'm expecting Team Efficiency to run an E5 oriented lineup. They showed us already 2 E5 lineups on Ghost Town. We just saw the Super Friends run an E5 lineup. The question to me is Super Friends going to try to do something fancy with the object tanks like we just saw Team Efficiency try, or are they going to keep it a little bit more like we've already seen? That's the question.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let's get into game number 4. All right, guys, it is game number 4. We are on mines, and Super Friends are up 3. Team Efficiency now are on the attack, and yeah, like we could see here, the tank list.
Looks like we're seeing a lot of E5s from the Super Friends again, bringing 1215B.
It's the same lineup, basically.
Yep, exactly the same. But for Team Efficiency, they're bringing a lineup I really like. It's a great lineup. It's a catch-all lineup. It's basically like what we've seen from last season's EL, where you've got one IS-7 for that extra damage absorption, you've got an auto loader, you have one object 140 for extra mobility, the T-54s, and you've got your E5s, your run-of-the-mills. But we're going to see them dash in here, and we're going to have a big fight right at the start, it looks like.
Okay, yeah, it is it's like you said, a catch-all, but it's also like to me, it seems like I'm not sure what we really want to do with this lineup. Let's just see if we can blow them away kind of thing. I like that Team Efficiency have that high ground advantage right now. They did have the mine. They're all going to spread out just a little bit as Super Friends come up. Yeah, I don't think either team have any intention to capture a base. They're just going to go ahead and blow each other up.
Yeah, and that's basically the name of the game here. They're really trying to control the mine area.
Yep, Dexter on the IS-7, he gave up the T-54s. He wants a little heftier of a tank, I suppose.
Well, he's not going to get blasted by Batman halfway across the map this time, that's for sure. But we've seen this engagement happen a lot on this map, and usually what happens is the attacking side has to give it up if it ends up being more of an even trade like this. But it looks like Team Efficiency is kind of spreading, but they're so reluctant to give it up, and Safi might die as a result.
Oh, Sponster
too.
Sponster does go down, and that's going to hurt. I mean, losing one tank so early in the game already.
It's bad news.
Wow, that RU-251 Kane really is the MVP for this map. He's just doing so much damage from far away.
Ma's going to be the next to fall if Ontario takes the shot from above. He might even try to ram him. He's being patient.
Oh, he is being patient. Ma goes down, like you said. Idis needs to run away, but Batman is right on his heels.
I feel like Team Efficiency isn't making very many big mistakes, but Super Friends seems like this is their map. I mean, they are playing this so well, using the terrain, using the slides incredibly well. And I'm really impressed with the focus firing and Kane, always where he needs to be getting extra vision, even doing damage as an RU-251 versus these tier 10s.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. I feel like Team Efficiency, when it comes to this point of the game, they start to lose communication, and they're not focus firing exactly onto the tanks that they need to. We have Idis and Safi and Skell all completely low. They are under 250 HP.
Yeah, Idis is under 70 HP at 68 on a tier 54 medium. He's not going to last very long.
Not at all. And, I mean, at this point, if they can regroup and just shoot together, pick one and shoot at it, I think they might have a bit of luck.
It's just unfortunate they can't really focus right now because in order to do so, they all have to group, which is where they're most vulnerable. And Safi and Nomad now the last two standing. Nomad's going to be the first to die. And Safi, I don't even know where he is. Oh, he's dead.
There
That's
he
why.
is. That's where he is. And PvP Super Friends are going to go ahead and clean up mines. This is map number 2 that they finished up, and that's 4 games.
Yeah, it's been a very quick series. Even just looking at the time, I mean, in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes time, they've gone 4-0. And now we're going into our third map, Prokhorovka, which could be the final map.
Okay, it is a bigger map. It is a bigger map. It's a lot more spread open. Again, actually, you know what? That might mean that it's even faster because they could just rush at each other.
That's most likely what's going to happen. No, I felt like Team Efficiency played really well on the first map, but when it came to mines, I mean, that was incredible play by Super Friends. They were really, very knowledgeable where everyone was. Kane was always getting the extra vision of where every single tank was, and he was dealing damage. If you sum all that up into just one tier 8 tank, your filler tank is doing this much for you. It means that you've got a player, in this case Kane, who really understands the map very well because he's zipping around the map, getting all the information, telling his teammates, okay, we've got You know, the 215Bs over there. You know, the two T-54 mediums went over there. You know, and so let's make a comp for this. You know, Batman's like looking down the ramp and then slides into the corner and catch tanks and surround them. That was pretty impressive stuff.
They definitely showed us that they know this map pretty well, and they know where to be. Yeah.
I mean, they just made it look like a jungle gym they've like run obstacle courses in like a million times.
All right.
It was really fun to watch.
Whew. Like you said, next map is Prokhorovka.
Yep.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
I did. And once again, big map. What kind of tanks do you think we can expect on this?
Well, I think we would see a lot of Object 140s, STB1s, maybe some E5s, you know, mixed in. E100, I don't think so. Like, probably not going to be on the cards for this map.
Okay.
So probably keeping it a little bit more medium going into this map. That's what I'd expect.
All right.
Maybe a T54 lightweight or an RU251 to get that extra vision for the filler tank.
I mean, Kane's been so good on it. Why not, right?
I think the STB1s are really good on this map, personally. I think just bringing 2 is fine. 1 or 2 is like pretty good. You don't need to bring any more than that. The rest could be objects. We have seen some bat chats rotated in this map because if you can protect them, they do a ton of damage and they are going to be so useful in a brawl. The 215B can serve a similar role, but it's just not as good of a consistent damage dealer. But it has, like, you know, some more hit points, some more armor. It's not going to die as quickly as the bat chat. The bat chat is like basically a glass cannon. It's gonna fall apart if you like drive over the wrong rock the wrong way. So,
well, you never know. We are waiting for them to finish up picking their tanks. I think everyone is talking in the lobby right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're just about ready, but give us a few more seconds.
Sure. Yeah, we got to take a little bit more time going into this one.
Obviously, team efficiency going into this is their last chance to, you know, possibly even up the score if they
have to
want
win.
to.
Yeah, they have to win 4 games in a row now.
But PvP Super Friends, if they take this, that's going to be, you know, they're going to take those 3 points. So here we go. The map is ready. Let's get into the next game. All right, everyone, welcome to Prokhorovka. Woo, I said it.
You did it.
Team efficiency versus Super Friends. Super Friends are up 4 games, and like I said, this could be match point. Let's look at the tanks.
So both teams are keeping the 215B out of the picture. We do have Idis running the bat chat. We've got 2 E5s apiece. The bat chat will switch with an Object 140 base if you want to compare these 2 lineups together. So 3 Object 140s for Super Friends. They're going to bring the 2 T54s as their tier 9s, whereas Dex is going to be on the RU251 as the filler, and they have that 1 STB1 that I really like seeing on this map because it's fast, does really consistent damage in a straight-up fight, especially when you're poking over a railroad track. It's got really strong frontal armor, and, you know, the biggest weakness of it, I feel, is, you know, despite the fact that it's just a medium tank, is that it can't shoot long distance, but who really needs to shoot long distance on this map?
Ooh, Dexa just driving by very dangerously to see where the Super Friends are right now. He was shot at, but escapes without being hit once, which is great for the team. Now, that was really interesting, watching team efficiency just drive straight down into this little town. It seems that they want to utilize the little houses as opposed to like the big open space that we usually see.
Unfortunately, not all the tanks have that cover right now. Skell and Nomad very exposed, and they are getting focus fire down like crazy right now.
Sure are. Skell is going to go down so quickly. Oh gosh, there he goes. They
basically just waited till the last second to finish off Skell with those objects, then just surrounded him. Nomad's going to face the same fate. Meanwhile, Idis is taking damage somewhere else. I'm not sure what happened to him, but they do not want to lose him. He's their most important tank right now.
Oh, Safi is the next focus. There we go. Safi does go down. Ted Morrow is able to finish that off, as is Sponsor. Super Friends doing a super job of really just picking out their targets and eliminating them one by one.
Is that EO Gaming in there? What's going on? Ma on the STB1, one of the most inaccurate medium tanks, is actually trying to do some snipe shots. He does connect one of those through the trees. A pretty impressive shot. Does not hit the second one, though.
Oh, gosh, but a 2v7, I'm really scared for Dexta and Ma. Dexta, especially on the RU251, he's just zipping around somewhere. He's a little far from the fight. By the time he gets in there, I don't think his buddy's going to be able to help him out whatsoever.
I mean, this game is clean.
Didn't even get a chance to bash into him for the kill.
Dexta's just going to walk right down the line of fire. He's going to walk the plank. He will be the last tank to die. He's going to see how many bullets he can dodge on his way over. He's like the Flash.
Oh my
right
God,
now.
he's not going to be able to dodge. 4 focus. Wow, you guys saw that. You guys just saw that. Whew.
Yeah, that was well, it depends on whose perspective, but it was a very clean game for Super Friends, very messy game for Team Efficiency. Very clean series overall, and I have to say I don't want to put much blame on Team Efficiency. I just feel like Super Friends really prepared very well for their only match of the night, and they tore through it and got that 5-0.
Absolutely. That was, wow. That last game really left a mark. Well, so after that, I think I'm going to need some coffee and, you know, wash my face a bit and just be like, that really did just happen. Let's come back in about 10 minutes, guys, and we will be back with the Super Noobs doubleheader. And make sure you tune right back in. 10 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We are getting ready now for the second set for the evening. We have B Gaming versus Super Noobs. Now, Super Noobs have only played 2 games so far.
Yeah, they took a game off EL Gaming, which that in itself is pretty impressive, and they were able to defeat Team Efficiency 5-0, if I'm not mistaken. So, still very little games shown from these guys. You know, I'm not as familiar with them as I am with the Super Friends, and they've only played 2 games this season. They were not in Gold Series last season, so you know, we're still learning this team. We're still figuring them out, finding out just how good these guys are.
Yeah, and B Gaming, again, this is a team that we have seen last season here and the Gold Series. We'll go ahead and introduce that team to you now. Here is B Gaming, 7mm, Karaya, Taki, Nipa, Tamati, Super Hiroshi, Neatme. I mean, these guys here are their staple players. These are players that we've seen all throughout Season 1, and again, you know, we're watching them rock out here in Season 2.
That's right, and we haven't seen that much of B Gaming yet this season either, but what we have seen is the same solid gameplay that we would expect from them, you know, this past season. We've seen them twice, and they did decently well. You know, they looked as good as they were before.
Got it. Do this. But yeah, B Gaming, that was really tough for them, having to play against Karen Tigers and EL as their first 2 games. But here they're going to be playing against the Super Noobs. Like we said, only seen them play twice also this season so far.
Yep, they've got players such as Ironhide, Sunbo, NTLOC, Hien, The Last, Ricky, Tang Haruai. I tried.
That was pretty good.
Kong-san, Lissandra-san, N3, as far as I'll go on that one, Feliska, and Fury.
I think that's Aaron. No? N3?
Yeah,
because it's
maybe.
Super Noobs.
Oh, Baron.
Baron. No, okay. All right, whatever. But yeah, like you said, these are names that are pretty new to us since we haven't seen them in Season 1 and only 2 games so far in Season 2. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to do, you know, against a team that's not EL Gaming or Karen Tigers.
Yeah, it's really, I'm looking forward to seeing as well because, you know, obviously they earned their way through Silver League back up to the Gold Series. So, you know, they're good enough, just like the Super Friends, which we did see just previously kind of thrash Team Efficiency around a little bit there. And Team Efficiency, one of our teams that did decently well last season. But let's take a look at our maps.
Yeah, so this is the map pick for this set. We have Himmelsdorf first, then Ghost Town, then Prokhorovka.
Yes.
And Mines. And so those are the first 4 maps that we have. And Cliff being that favorite tiebreaker map.
Yeah, we see it almost every time. Well, what's funny is because these are the 4 maps you see above Cliff are almost always the 4 maps you see anyways.
Yeah.
Himmelsdorf and Ghost Town were the most popular. And then Prokhorovka overtook Ghost Town a little bit, but now it's like, yeah, it's like pretty similar.
But yeah, these are the 4 that we always see. I'm kind of, there's a screen in front of us and I'm pointing at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are ones we see. But Cliff is almost always the tiebreaker.
Yeah, almost every time. It's either Cliff or Ghost Town, actually.
Yeah.
It's like if Ghost Town is not in the original 4, it's going to be the tiebreaker. If it is, then it's there. Every now and then we see like Mines gets pushed out entirely. The Muravanka sneaks in, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
We also saw Ruinberg like twice. Okay,
oh, that's
sometimes.
right.
Sometimes.
I like forget that Ruinberg's still even in this map pool. We have 8 maps apparently, guys, that, you know, these teams are supposed to pick. But
it's not just 3 or 4, depending on who's playing. You know, there's a larger pool out there. We just don't always get to see it all come together.
Right. All right, so yeah, first matchup is going to be on Himmelsdorf, and like I said, B Gaming versus the Super Noobs. I think they're actually ready and loaded, so we're going to go straight into game number 1. Welcome back, everyone, to Himmelsdorf, our favorite Himmelsdorf map. It's set number 1, and B Gaming is going to be on the attack first.
Well, let's take a look at these tank lists. We got some unique tanks on this one, actually. Even the 2 tier 9s, the Type 4 Heavy, which we saw just one time last week by EL, I believe it was, and the Tortoise, which I think we saw like on day 1, but it has not seen the light of day again since then. Bringing in Tank Destroyer, 3 215Bs, and the Waffen.
The Waffen.
But we also see the Waffen for Tamati, and they're bringing in IS-4. So this is really interesting. I'm not entirely sure how this one is going to pan out, to be totally honest with you, Susie. The Conquerors we see for the Super Noobs look a little bit more standard. They've got a 50B, an E100, an IS-4, and an IS-7. That's like your bread and butter defense with a...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering right now, sorry, I'm listening to you, but I'm also watching this conga train go through the town. I'm not sure why they are pushing one another. Keeping that Tortoise tank destroyer right in the middle? Not sure what the plan is.
Maybe
there.
just to protect against a frontal assault that comes around the corner. The 215Bs are going to take the castle high ground. They're not autoloaders. You usually see an autoloader go up there, but instead of using the autoloader, it's just going to be using those 215Bs because they're autoloaderless. So the 215B is going to be as close to an autoloader as you can get in this composition. This is a strange game. We saw some crazy games just last week when your brother was here, where we had ambush attempts. We saw EL do something similar to what B Gaming is doing the previous Monday, where they hid all in the corner over here.
Oh, I remember that. I remember them doing that. I still don't understand the conga line.
Well, I think it's to minimize some of the surface area, some of the weak points of these tanks. But it is still very strange. The Heavy is a very big tank, the Type 4. And so it's going to, just simply block a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. The armor on that is pretty ridiculous.
We are seeing some attempted autoloader shots fired over here at these 215Bs. And it's like they're just going to try to take capture point number 2 by force, much more aggressively than most teams would. Instead of trying to use the corner, because we usually call this the corner cap point. That's why I always call it, because the corner cap is usually where it's contested, where we're going to see it right now. But they're actually pushing kind of on both sides of it as well. Okay,
so Nipa is going to try to sit in on this, but he's actually getting shot down. Despite all that armor on him, I think if Ironhide can get some good shots on him, wow, and there comes Super Noobs from all over the place. They're just going to blow up Nipa, and...
Yeah, bit of a questionable choice. I thought the idea might have been that the 215Bs were going to come and support, and they were going to try to burst down Ironhide. But they just never came, and it starts to look a bit strange.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly it is that B Gaming is trying to do for this attack. 7mm on the IS-4 is going to be sitting in the base. Base capture is down to 70 seconds, and Ironhide right now is the only one. He's going to shim up on this tank destroyer. I think he's trying to make sure he can get Ironhide, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea seems to be to kill Ironhide so that they can take the base capture, but I don't think this is going to work out because at this point, Super Noobs have figured out the plan and they can actually get a better position because Ironhide is not being pushed back and is totally free to just simply sit here.
Okay, well, you know what? His buddy is over there with him now. We've got Kong Sun sitting there with Ironhide. But you know what? The base capture has not slowed down at all. It's down to 38 seconds already as battles are going on in the courtyard and everywhere else but the base capture.
Yeah. Hien actually might get the worst end of this. Look at that tank destroyer damage.
Ooh.
Boom. It's like a tank destroyer autoloader. I mean,
it's like he destroyed a tank right there.
Yeah, that is why it is the tank destroyer. All right, 7mm will be reset here. No question about that.
All right, NT lock. He's
locked down.
He sure is. Super Hiroshi is going to take that shot, does chip it away at his HP just a little bit, but Riki is behind him, going to take that cover fire for his buddy. Kong Sun finishes off, and now it is a 4v5.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you can kill Kong Sun here, but he's not getting that base capture.
Wow, Taki, that was impressive actually.
Well, this is I think this is the beginning of the end for B Gaming. A 7mm will now fall. Now it's just going to be a chase down and eliminate game here for the Super Noobs.
Well, Taki, yeah, avoiding a little bit of hits there. He's just going to drive down. But like you said, there's now only 2 tanks remaining for B Gaming.
Yeah, this is starting to get a bit messy here.
Taki,
the Taki's going to get surrounded, and the tank destroyer alone is not going to have an easy time.
I don't even know where he is right now on this map. Oh,
he's to the south.
We could see, yep, he's in the south. He's going to see if he can get some shots onto Riki here, but it might be a little too late as Taki does take a ton of damage.
And he does get a kill on NTLOC. otherwise known as NT-Lock.
NT-Lock does go down. Taki goes down. It is up to Tamati to shoot down the other 4 tanks. But
oh, he's caught by the other tank destroyer.
Oh.
As the tank destroyer becomes the tank destroyed.
Wow. All right. That was a very confusing game for me. Wolf, can you explain it just a little bit?
I can explain as much as I saw, which was a really aggressive push strategy of tanks and like a Congo line, as you call it, almost like a train of tanks pushing towards the corner capture point with 2-on-5Bs on the high ground to give support fire to try to give a little bit more vision, but they weren't able to get behind the tank. I thought they were going to try to get behind the IS-4 Ironhide in this case and kill him. I mean, it's like I look at Ironhide, I'm like, IS-4 in the IS-4 spot called Ironhide, like that's too funny. But
it's like he was meant to be there.
It was his destiny. That was his plan from the beginning. That's like how he got his ID. Well, no, he just sat there with his Ironhide in an IS-4, and the 2-on-5Bs never came, mostly because there was backup. And then the Tortoise didn't accomplish much at all. I don't think we're going to be seeing that again. No. And then I have to say, like, I feel like the plan to just push the Type 4 Heavy into the capture point while there were clearly going to be other tanks there, when there was no one to help against the IS-4.
That was very strange to me, too.
I mean, I cannot explain that. I look at that and I go, that must have been a mistake.
Yeah, he just literally walked into 3 tanks facing at him.
No man's land.
Yeah, he just kind of got blown up as soon as he walked into it. That was poor planning, maybe, or they just didn't expect it. I'm not 100% sure on that. But now that we're going to switch sides, I'm assuming we're not going to see the Tortoise again?
No more Tortoise. I think there's a high chance we'll be seeing those tank destroyers, though. The Waffens, again, on both sides, because
they did some damage,
They did some damage. They're becoming more popular on this map. The Conquerors that we saw from the Super Noobs probably going to be making a reappearance as well, I would say, even on the attacking side. There's a high chance of that. Otherwise, I think we are going to be seeing some of the same lineups just side-switched. You know, the IS-4 on the defense, the IS-7 potentially on the attack, the IS-7 on the defense as well. You know, most defending teams are running one IS-4 to block that capture point, although sometimes E-100s are used, and then the IS-7 to look down the railroad tracks. But yeah, that was weird. The last few games we've seen on this map have been a bit out of the ordinary. It feels like teams are trying to reinvent the wheel, which was already being reinvented at the beginning of the season because everyone's trying some new things. We got new tanks who are pushing towards the railroad tracks. Now people are like, no, we're going to do this conga line, or we're going to ambush, or we're going to push up the castle with everything. I'm like,
we're going to hide all of our tanks in a parking lot for a while, like EL Gaming did the other day, right underneath the castle. That was.
Besides that, most of these weird strategies have not really been working out, and I think it's time to kind of go back to what's a little bit more standard. You know, pull out the old textbook and turn to page 12, where it's like, all right, let's just kind of split up, get some vision, and slow push this. This is Himmelsdorf. That's how I'm feeling.
Well, let's take a look, see what tanks we've got this time around. Let's get into the game. All right, guys, we are in game number 2, B Gaming versus Super Noobs. B Gaming is down 1 game, Super Noobs up 1, and now they are the ones on the attack.
I want to look at B Gaming's lineup first here. They're bringing the E100 instead of the IS-4 to stop the corner cap. They've got the IS-7 to look down the railroads, 2 215Bs, that's fine, but 2 5120s instead of bringing the Conquerors on the defense. And an Object 140, I guess just for a little bit more being able to gain vision quickly. On the side of Super Noobs, they're bringing a very well-rounded lineup as well, bringing E100, 215B, and IS-4, 150B, 1215 to try to get an idea of whether or not this is going to be one of those crazy push strategies. That's a tongue twister.
Well, okay, so right now I'm seeing that Super Noobs are
5B. Just 1 tank destroyer this game on their side, and the lightweight for extra vision. And Tamati is going to be using this Object 1.
Tried and true. They're going to go up the castle side for the attack. Usually we see this when they're looking to go to base capture number 2. But
you know what? B Gaming is they're actually doing a counter strat.
Yeah, they're coming up.
They're like, oh, well, everyone always puts one autoloader up here. Let's counter them. NT-Lock is looking. And Tamati's like, oh, he's there.
They
might just overwhelm him.
They haven't really caught each other yet. Neither of their sixth senses have gone up. Oh, I think.
Yeah, they're going off now.
There it is. They have been spotted, and now NT-Lock is like, oh, shoot.
Well, I don't think he realizes just yet that it's 3. You know, it's about to be a 3v1 if he sticks around.
Yeah.
And none of his buddies are going to be able to help him out. If you look at the screen right now, it looks like they're really close by, but as you can see from this angle, they're like very far away, and there's a whole castle in their way.
And T-Lock is just going to head back down and around, join up with his friends. I think that's a much smarter decision at this point, because him versus 3 tanks, not a pretty ending to that one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we have Hien on Hien? Yeah, Hien.
I just been calling him Hien.
Let's call him Hien.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hien just driving right through the courtyard, got shot at, but at least he knows that's the only tank that's there.
You know, with the 3 tanks up on the high ground and the path that the Super Noobs took, they're pretty safe to keep pushing through here right now. You know, they're taking, I guess, what you call the east road on the courtyard, which is the most common approach to base capture number 2.
Right. Okay, so we have Tamati in the high ground. Remember, they are the ones on the defense, so they're just going to see if they can shoot at the Super Noobs if they decide to capture anything. But again, the whole team looking to see if they can go over to base capture number 2. That is the contested zone.
Yeah. Everyone kind of grouping up here. And there's that E100 I was talking about that's going to be blocking this corner cap.
I'm like, is he trying to cap? Does he not know what side he's on?
The IS-7 is also sitting pretty at the railroad tracks. Too standard almost, the way these guys are playing.
All right,
here comes
Ironhide.
Ironhide, going to be doing his Ironhide job again.
Yes, on the IS-4.
Too
he's just
appropriate.
Gonna start, and Shimip knows that he's there now.
He's going to try to make a shot. This is always the most awkward part of
Ooh.
every Himmelsdorf game. Ooh, a nice shot there.
Very
That's actually
nice
a big
shot.
chunk
Yeah.
of health down there.
It's like holding my breath to see if he's going to make it or not.
Now notice he
Ironhide
turns
is-
and faces the door. That's because his armor is the strongest when he looks away like that.
Yeah.
So he's not actually just like totally spacing out after he takes that shot and hiding like an ostrich in the sand.
Well, Ironhide right now, obviously he's in the corner, but he's not able to cap at all, so he's going to have to get out of there or take shots, one or the other. It doesn't seem like he's going to do either. So we'll have to wait and see what his plan is. Maybe he's just waiting for other members of his tank to come, of his team to come by. Give him some help there.
You know, the composition for B Gaming is really powerful when it comes to their autoloaders, but they haven't been able to set up any sort of engage with that just yet, but time is on their side. And this is going to be another more textbook, as I was mentioning before, game here on Himmelsdorf.
Yep. Game time is down to 5 minutes and 40 seconds now. And Super Noobs really need to do something. I think they are looking to just eliminate their opponents at this point. But on the mini-map, you can see they're all kind of grouped together. Almost as if they do want to rush it and cap that point.
Yeah.
Oh, again, on the lightweight.
This is scary. I do have to worry about this. Ironhide taking a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, he does trade some shots, but 7mm really is not as effective as he is. Ooh,
all right, Nipa. He's going to hold his ground, and he's going to hold it well. If he actually gets a kill on Hien, that's like a huge, huge win.
That was a huge, huge win.
All right, I think Super Noobs' best chance is to actually try to overwhelm here on the point and try to, with 3 tanks in here, get the timer down. It's going to be like one of those rush moments where you're desperate.
Yep. And
it might work.
Yeah, Shimip is not going to be able to hold his ground with 3 tanks shooting at his face right now.
Ooh, and the Waffen is kind of blocking some of the reinforcements. And this could theoretically work. But Taki's coming down pretty soon.
Yeah, okay. Shimip goes down, Nipa goes down. And the base capture, I mean, it does keep resetting, but like you said, there's 3 tanks in there, so it depends. Oh, let's make that 2 tanks.
Someone walked out. I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, he just stay in there right now.
He just wanted to check. He sees 3 tanks are coming, but they're a ways away. All right, Tamati and Taki are the key players right now. The rest of those tanks that are coming are going to take a little while. They should be able to get here before this timer is up, but then accuracy becomes important.
Absolutely. Less than 10 seconds. Enlock is on his way down as well. He wants to get in on this fight. At least provide cover fire. Super Hiroshi takes a ton of damage.
Tangerai finally goes down. Taki's here. He's at the party. T-Lock needs to get some good shots off right now.
Yes, he does. Or he needs to join this base
Tamati is
capture.
exposed.
Ooh.
T-Lock could change this game. He could win this game for his team right now, and I think he just might.
I think he just did. He's going to get into this base. Kong-san, you need to get in there, son.
Oh, okay. He needs to kill Samo. That's where that round needs to go, and he gets it. And now he has to reload. It's going to take a little bit of time. Taki is sitting duck right now.
Taki is sitting duck. Nobody has any shots left. They're just going to wait it out, but I don't think Taki's going to be able to reload on time.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Was the hero, and that was a crazy awesome play by Super Noobs.
Wow. That was a great ending.
Yeah, put that one on the highlight reels. Like, B Gaming had all the advantages, and then they made one decisive choice to go for that base capture. They killed the E100 instantly, and then they had a small advantage. They had a small positional advantage, and then Tongarai, who has like 40 health left, is in there, and he's like, well, I'm basically just a clock ticking down. You guys have to deal with me.
Yep.
That was really cool. That's the kind of decisive move that teams need to make sometimes, and sometimes it looks smarter than others. Even if that had lost, if they had lost with that attempt there, I would have still said it was probably the right choice. We see this all the time. We see this on Prokhorovka sometimes. We saw this in Ruinberg, where a team's behind and they've got two, or we even see this on steps, where you've got 3 tanks, or even sometimes just 1 tank in the capture point and 2 tanks nearby, and they go, all right, this is a bad position, but maybe if they miss us, or maybe we get into a good position, we can run the timer out. Not only did Super Noobs have those 3 tanks nearby, but they were able to get them into a good position by killing the E100, and then they were just basically dodging shots and taking good fights. And then T-Lock was like, all right, I'm coming, I'll clean everything up, and that's exactly what happened.
Oh, wow. T-Lock was definitely the MVP of that game, and he played that really, really well. Next map is going to be Ghost Town.
Oh, that's right. So going into one of our quicker maps.
Yeah.
Although, you know, those first 2 games on Himmelsdorf, it seemed like they were taking a while, but they kind of got to a point we had a lot of engagements in a fight there, especially in game 2. You don't see games like that on the Himmelsdorf all too often.
That was a pretty awesome game, I have to say.
Yeah, that was cool. I wish Himmelsdorf was played like that more often. you pros out there.
Hey. No, like you said, it started off very systematical, very by the books, you know, but again, Super Noobs and their not noobish behavior, you know, I think they're going to have to get a new name. They're not very newbie. No.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are super noobs, which is like they're noobs, but they're like better than noobs. You know
Does that mean they're more noobs than regular noobs?
Yeah, I guess it could be.
Super noobs?
Well, I mean, it just all depends on perspective, Susie, right? Because if you're a noob, you know, it's like, it means you're new to the game, right? That's it comes from the term newbie, right? And then you just put like newbie, and then you've got noob. And then you've got, you know, super noobs, which means they could either be really new, or they could be like, they were noobs before, but now they're super noobs, so like not as bad, but they're still noobs.
Etymology 101 for World of Tanks, right here, guys. Okay, I'm going to go with your definition of it, since they're not very newbie. I don't know.
They have a really cool logo. I mean, I don't know, because they got a dice, it's got an S and an N on it, and it's got a star on the top. I think the star means like super, the S means super, and the N means noobs. And it's, you know, listen, they're tearing apart already one of our better Japanese teams.
They are doing very well, yes. Like I said, this is the 3rd game that we've watched them play. And beforehand, they only played against Karen Tiger and Immortals.
Or no, was it Immortals?
I think so.
I thought it was EL. But either way, they lost both of their games. They tried hard.
But they were very, very, like they're playing very convincingly.
Oh, that's right. No. I always got the teams confused you were talking about. But yes, everything you just said was correct. So sorry about that. I'm just looking at our lobby to see if I can get any updates on when we're jumping in this one. Because today, our teams have been like on point. Boom, boom, boom. Like no downtime. So happy.
Yep. And speaking of no downtime, we are ready to go. So here we go. Game number 3. Welcome back to Ghost Town, everyone. Set number 3, B Gaming versus Super Noobs, and the Super Noobs are going to attack once again.
So you got some player switches here as well for B Gaming. I want to talk about, first thing I noticed right off the bat is, well, there's 2 things to point out. One is that we've got Samo on the M4043, which is an artillery. He thinks he's Opolis. We've seen Opolis, the only player ever to successfully pilot a Burt on this map last season. And he's from the same region. And Object 140 for Nipa. Tamati's even bringing a tank destroyer. So that's interesting. And 2 Conquerors on the side of Super Noobs. So just looking at the tank lineups, I mean, everything else is pretty standard. We are going to see a pretty aggressive move here into that center capture, but Karaya is up there waiting on an IS-7, not a bad choice.
Okay. Well, let's...
Look at this picture-in-picture we've got here of the artillery, so you can watch that happening live.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's a very new feature. That I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, that's new. That's pretty cool.
All right. So far, very quiet. I mean, this is not what I expected from being on Ghost Town. But yeah, both teams going to play it patiently, and...
This is really interesting, and I feel like this patience will play into B Gaming's composition, but I can't say anything too, I can't predict that much yet, as we haven't really seen this comp attempted this season. The M4043 is going to be at a location just like Obelisk used his Burt in the previous seasons, at the top left of the map to give a little bit of coverage to capture point number 1.
Okay, I think Super Noobs have finally made their decision. They're going to go and try to get over to base capture number 1. As right now, that's where it seems that they're going to go. They still haven't really found one another yet.
Nope, not quite.
Nope, not quite. Hien may go ahead and see 7mm pretty soon. Here's Nipa. Yeah, he's
Nipa
stalled way at the edge.
If he found NT-Lock, who's been the master so far on Bat Chat, that would have been really, really nice, but not going to happen. A very patient sort of Ghost Town game here. We have not quite seen games like this on this map just yet.
We're almost at the 7-minute mark, and there's no one being shot at.
Yeah,
what's going on?
No one's taking damage. I think if I had to take a guess, I'd say Super Noobs is playing a little bit cautiously versus this somewhat strange composition from B Gaming. And obviously there's no vision, so Samo can't just start taking pot shots. Well, I feel like obviously the advantage will go to B Gaming the longer the game goes if it continues like this, but positionally they're getting into a better spot. You know, they're moving towards capture point number 1. They're trying to assess where the artillery is, how many tanks are positioned nearby. Can we just overwhelm the capture point and take control of that zone? And
yeah, I mean, this game is so slow right now. We're like just watching, make sure these tanks aren't doing something really crazy yet. All right, well, like you said, it's much better for B Gaming in the long run, as long as the clock is on their side. Again, now we're down to 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and still no shells have been exchanged.
Yeah, so big rotations here from Super Noobs. They're pulling out completely, and they're going to move down to the south now. One thing I will say about Super Noobs that I've learned, from watching them over the course of today specifically, is they are decisive. When they have an idea in their heads, they don't hesitate, and they're going to move their entire roster of 7 tanks across to the other side. NT-Lock and Nipa are going to have a bit of a standoff here if they get a little bit closer, if they get division of each other. They don't see each other yet, but they're getting closer. Ooh, and I like NT-Lock's position. He's going to go up on this cliff. Oh, if he can fit up there anyways.
Oh, but Nipa is waiting on him. This is so interesting. Under 6 minutes still, and nobody's really done anything.
Yeah, all right. Here comes the last, actually leading the charge here with Ironhide on those Conquerors.
Oh, Karaya and Ironhide. Finally, Nipa is also found out. So, yes, thank you. Exchange them shells there. I'd like to see this.
Looks like NT-Lock is getting killed here, and I would have to say probably by Nipa.
I would assume so. NT-Lock was pretty out in the open as he climbed that mountain area. Samo is going to take some shots, and Super Hiroshi, it does connect.
And not a massive amount of damage, but a little bit just the same. Tongaroi is taking a ton of damage as well from an unknown source. He's going to have to stay alive too, because that's one of their big damage dealers. Another attempt here by Samo to knock him out is unsuccessful.
All right, well, at this point, Super Noobs really do need to go in and do something. Whether it's going to be elimination or base capture, they need to move and move they are. They're going to go in. Prokhorovka, you can see, is taking some damage over by the schoolyard here.
Karaya's first shot is important here. What's he going to hit?
What's he going to hit?
Hit much of anything.
Hiroshi does go down on the off-screen. Karaya is taking a ton of damage as well.
This is a really good formation here from Super Noobs. Again, they were down in hit points, they were down in formation, but they actually make this decisive move. Now they're protecting that AMX 50B from 7mm. He's going to go down as well.
Yeah, that was great focus fire down, and wow, only 4 members of B Gaming are left.
Super Noobs, you know what? I'm like going to say it. I feel like Super Noobs might actually be the smartest team. I mean, they like mechanics-wise and everything else, obviously they're not perfect. But the things they do when they get vision, they're like, okay, this is the best way to move. And they make such good trades. It's incredible. We have not really seen anything quite like this. No other teams are willing to experiment like this or take big leaps of faith almost.
All right, well, 3 minutes, 33 seconds left to go. And, you know, while we're saying that, though, 1 by 1, Super Noobs have been falling as well. Now it is a 4v4 with definitely an HP advantage over on B Gaming side. Tamati going to be focus fired down. 3v3. Let's make it 2v2.
The thing is, one of those 2 is Samo, who's on an artillery as well, which is going to make him basically useless. If he could hit Ironhide, that'd be sweet. That's the only word I can use for this. So make that be sweet. Be like, oh, got him, nice.
Oh gosh, okay. Oh, Ricky does take out Samo.
Samo goes down in 1 shot, and this is going to be the end here as they corner Taki. If he can stay alive for 3 more minutes, maybe.
No, not at all. With Ironhide on the other end, and he's going to come with the finishing blow. Super Noobs goes ahead and takes game number 3.
Very, very decisive moves yet again for Super Noobs.
Very quiet game.
Yeah, it was a quiet game, that's for sure. But at the very end of things, Super Noobs just grouped all together. They did good focus firing. They basically outnumbered the tanks in the school area, you know, where the capture point was.
Yeah.
And with that sort of move, you know, they basically killed the E100 for free, just like we saw in the very previous map on Himmelsdorf. They're able to figure out where every tank is, where's the E100, where's the vulnerable targets, and they kill them 4v1, 3v1, and then suddenly from being 3,000 hit points down, and that's including with an artillery on the map that has very little hit points. So we're talking like really like realistically almost 4,000 hit points down. They take all the right fights to end up turning the game around. Absolutely.
I think Super Noobs did take all the right fights, and they were very patient. They didn't want to jump the gun with anything, and it worked out very well at the end. So that was a slow, but that was a very slow game.
That was not the ghost town we are used to seeing, but we're going to go into another ghost town game with swapped sides now. And a win here for Super Noobs will actually give the match point, which is the word I was trying to get out of my head there.
I think there's a small problem, and our production staff is letting us know that they need to solve a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and talk with you a little bit longer as we make sure that problem is taken care of, and everyone has the best playing, you know,
set up
as possible right now.
Everyone needs to make sure, you know, they've got ideal conditions. You never want to be playing with lag, somebody's jumping out of the game, you're accidentally picking artillery on Ghost Town. Like, I don't know if that's a bug or if that's like, you know, just something that they decided to do intentionally.
I don't know.
I mean, it worked out not much at all, to be honest, in that last game. Like, the idea was there, and it did do, I'd say, probably like 500 to 1,000 points of damage maybe in total. It did give some extra zoning, especially in a slow game like that, but you can see that it's just missing damage. I'd rather even see more vision on like a T-54 lightweight than using that artillery personally. But looks like that problem is going to get solved pretty soon, and we're going to go into game number 4.
Yep, they will definitely let us know once that is all good to go. Let me see if I can find any juicy gossip in this lobby here.
Yeah, check it out, Susie.
Yeah, not really.
I see ready, and then I saw the other chat said ready earlier, so I think actually everything is solved.
It might just be a technical thing, but who knows? We're just going to wait. Oh, okay. Everything is ready. Great. We're going to get right back onto Ghost Town. All right, guys, set number 4. It is B Gaming versus Super Noobs, and Super Noobs up 3. This could, you know, be a short set as well, like the first one.
It could end up being that way. There's been a lot of things B Gaming has done today where I look at this and I just go, I don't like it, you know, but not too much I can say about that in this lineup. They're bringing 2 T-54 mediums. They have the Tank Destroyer, again, non-standard on this map, but Tamati did do a lot of damage with it last game, and he did do decently on Himmelsdorf as well. On the side of Super Noobs, they're bringing 1 E100, the 215Bs to support, 2 different types of autoloaders. Tongarai bringing his 50B this time, and NT Lock on the 25-ton. Those 2 guys are the heroes.
Oh, there's that picture. Yep.
So beautiful. A lot of tanks grouping up, actually, at the northern capture point. We've already got the T-54s in there.
Okay, yeah. B Gaming, they're just going to group together. Already, Super Hiroshi taking a little bit of damage. But it looks
He's actually just going to sneak into that capture point. They're going to try to force a fight early on.
Yeah, 3 tanks up in that capture point number 1. And this is going to make Super Noobs go ahead and react somehow. 15 seconds left.
Very classic, old school style that we're seeing here. Kian is coming to deny the capture.
Oh, yeah, they sure are. Base capture keeps resetting and going down, but we're going to have to see if they'll be able to do it. Oh, man.
I was going to say Nipo was the only one who hadn't been hit, so he was keeping the timer down, but he just stepped off, so it's totally reset now.
And now there is that brawl going on. All right, we can see this picture-in-picture, guys.
Taking a look at Tamati getting blasted off screen, and I mean, this is not a good fight for B Gaming. I don't know how else to say this. Nipa is trying to come in with a T-54 versus
Samo
all these
goes down, Tamati does go down as well.
And the only person who's died for Super Noobs is Ricky. And they're they're way just outnumbering B Gaming overall. Let's see though. I mean, this is still a fight that B Gaming could theoretically take. Ironhide goes down on the Conqueror. Now these autoloaders are the most important. The 25-ton Bat Chat, the 50B Tongarai coming over here. Let's see what he can get done this time. Hits Nipa once for 411. We'll try to find Taki, or 7mm is a great target, but he misses a shot.
Yeah, he does. That is a 3v3. 7mm does explode. He is on fire and not in a good way.
And now Nipa in a bad position here. And NT Lock is going to just rip him to shreds. He doesn't even have time to turn around. He's trying to escape.
No, he's going to just finish off, shoot those shells, and blow him up.
Not enough ram damage
there we go. Nipa does go down. Taki is the last one
Look at that.
left.
He gets a shot up before, and Taki doesn't finish him. Taki does not finish him.
Oh, gosh, yeah. But with all these tanks surrounding him, Super Noob's going to go ahead and take game number 4 as well.
Ooh, a rough game,
yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm not really feeling the Tank Destroyer on that map. You know, I didn't want to be critical because it was the first time this season that I can think of where teams played it, you know, and even playing it twice on both attack and defense. So I was like, all right, Tamati's a great player. We saw him make incredible plays last season. His Himmelsdorf Tank Destroyer play was really strong. Himmelsdorf, a map where we see Tank Destroyers all the time. In fact, it's like really unusual if neither team has a Tank Destroyer on Himmelsdorf. But we saw in the first game that he was able to kill like a T-54 and that was just sitting duck and then died.
Yeah.
And we saw in the picture-in-picture there, this time I think he got killed by a T-54 or a Conqueror, actually, I think in this case, just kind of off in the distance. And it's kind of painful to see that kind of thing happen where you could have had a more consistent damage with an autoloader or a T-15B or even an E5, I would like to see. Because I think the Tank Destroyer is like, it's like when we saw Tank Destroyers on Lakeville last time. I was like, okay, I kind of see what you're trying to do.
There's just no
but it's
mobility.
Not working out.
Yeah, there's no mobility on those things. And yeah, like you said, on Himmelsdorf,
it's like a one-hit wonder, you know. If you see a tank and it can't move and you've got it in range, you're going to kill it 100%, like every time. If you see a tank, if you see the backside of a tank in a corridor or in a street where he can't escape you and you can hit 3 or 4 shots, you're going to kill them 100% of the time. Most of the time without taking any retaliated damage. But when you can't get into those situations, you don't do much. You can't turn around very quickly. You're very slow. You can't really join a team fight later. We've seen some exceptions, but very rare. But now we're going to switch gears and go into Prokhorovka, our third map.
Yep. We didn't really get to see much of this in the last set because Well, that game ended pretty quickly. That was set number 5, right?
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. We only saw one set, and it was a very fast-paced, kind of brawl-oriented game.
It may do that again here because this is the 5th game, and seeing the way the Super Noobs are playing, they may just go ahead and finish by taking the perfect 5-0.
It's totally possible. I mean, I'd even almost argue it likely at this point, considering where the morale of B Gaming must be at this point. I just don't feel like we're seeing the same B Gaming that we saw last season and at the early part of this season. They're having a tough time today, and Super Noobs are punishing every mistake that B Gaming makes.
I've noticed that as well. They were pretty much neck and neck with Karen Tigers last season, but struggling a little bit. But you know what? Let's go into game number 5. Welcome to set number 5, guys. B Gaming versus Super Noobs, and this could well be the last game for this matchup. We have Super Noobs 4 to B Gaming 0, and B Gaming are going to attack first.
Hashtag Nippon on this one with the 3 STBs on B Gaming side, so they're going full Japan on this map, and I like this lineup a lot. I really do. They're bringing 2 E5s as well. They're going to cut out the 215Bs entirely, and they're going to bring a Patton and a T-54 as their medium filler tanks, whereas for the Super Noobs, they're going to take slight mobility with their Object 140s over the consistent damage of these STBs, right?
So, well, all right, wait. There's 30 seconds.
Oh, looks like we got some lag.
Neither of the teams are moving right now, so I think we do have a problem. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, looks like we might have some lag, so we'll get that resolved for you guys in just a moment. As I got something out of my eye just there. I'm sorry you guys had to see that. Yeah, we've got it on our screen, so most likely it's just some DCs or perhaps a problem with our observing PC.
I'm not sure. Yeah, neither team are moving right now on our screens, and
yeah, it could be a disconnect on the observer side, which would mean that even though the game is occurring, we can't see it. We've got backup observers, so that'll get settled soon. Or it's just that both teams disconnected. It could even be a server-wide problem. We don't know.
We have no idea.
I'm just guessing. I'm like
all
putting all
they
the
tell
ideas
us
out.
is there's a problem.
Just putting those ideas out there. I'm like throwing them out there. Like it could
All
be
right.
anything.
You know what then? To kill a little bit of time while they sort out this problem, we're going to go ahead and show you a little video of the map that we're going to be on.
That's a smart idea. I like this idea. So let's take a look at Prokhorovka. Now, despite being the most terrorizing name for any commentator to ever pronounce, this map has many very interesting features. The most interesting of those features are going to be the railroad tracks on the right side of the map and the pathway, the road that goes down the left side of the map, which is covered by trees, as you can see here, a few exposed areas. 2 base capture points, both to the north, and it's important to note that if you commit to going into one side of the railroad tracks or the other, it's very difficult to cross them after that because the railroad tracks are very heavily raised. And now, with those railroad tracks, the team that has control of the railroad tracks on the side of the base capture usually gets an advantage. The other team will sometimes rotate to the left. Now, during all of this, our game has been remade, our lobby, just to give you guys an update on that.
Yep, and as you guys are staring at this map right now, wondering how the next game is going to go down, the teams are now picking their tanks. I'm pretty sure they're going to go with the same tank selection because obviously both teams did see what the other was going to play, so that would not be fair if they went ahead and changed
100% probably going to have the same. It looks like B Gaming announced their tanks and selected the wrong ones in the game. I think that's what occurred there, so I think that's why we got to have them remake and actually select the tanks that they announced, right? Like, so to put this into perspective for you guys, because we haven't talked about it that much this season, both teams have to submit a tank roster before the game start, unless they have no changes, for example, on swapping sides. Mm-hmm. And then after you announce that, the other team sees that, and then they both know what tanks are going into the game before you start. But if you say you're going to say, like, what if you said you wanted 6 Object 140s and a T-54 lightweight, and then you brought 2 E5s, you can't do that.
Right, because you have to notify the officials exactly what you want to do first. Yeah, it looks like B Gaming picked the wrong tank. It's okay. I mean, I think they get a small little slap on the wrist, and
it's just important that, it's important that both teams recognized immediately, wait a minute, this isn't right, and then they both just like didn't even start the game, and we're gonna have a full restart. B Gaming gets a warning, which is, it's not a big deal.
So we're just waiting for them to leave the previous game so that we can start a new one.
That's right.
That is where we are at, but yeah, I think everyone is just discussing exactly what's going on and the warnings that they will get. But these kind of things do occur every once in a while.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't a technical difficulty.
Yeah, that's definitely true. As long as everyone is, everything is in and connected, it should be okay. Well, if we have a little bit more downtime, maybe in a little bit we'll take a look at rankings or something like that. But we talked about the map's features, right? The railroad tracks, the road with the trees. Brawls are really common on this map. Some of these players just crash into each other 7v7 in the middle of the map. Object 140 is really popular. The STBs popular as well. We talked about that, briefly with the tank lineups we saw there.
Well, considering how these two teams have been playing, and especially with this pause and everything, it really wouldn't surprise me if both teams just decide to go out and brawl it out. And Super Noobs were like, you know what, I want to finish this off.
Well, we did see the STBs picked for BG, which is a tank that is not good at range, so it means they want to fight close up most of the time.
Yeah.
They have good frontal armor, so if you're kind of charging in with them, tanks that hit you in the front are not going to do as much damage. So that leads me to believe they do want to be a bit more aggressive in that regard.
Yeah.
Whereas we had a more well-rounded lineup coming from the side of Super Noobs, bringing those 2 and 5 Bs. We'll have to wait and see, though. It's like a new lobby has been made. All the players are out of that previous game.
Just waiting for everyone to enter this one, then pick all the tanks again. And yeah, but you know what, I know the ranking thing's not up, but we can go ahead and talk about the rankings because we have it on our desk.
We do actually.
So far, EL Gaming is ahead of the pack. They have 18 points. And yes, they have played a lot more than the others so far. 18 still seems to be a pretty high number.
Yeah. With the win from Super Friends earlier, they're going to jump up to tie with Immortals and Super Noobs. Although if the Super Noobs win this next game, then they'll pass them and actually will pass Horsemen as well, who unfortunately were not able to get any points from their EL Gaming win and only got 2 points off their Karen Tigers. But if they're playing that well, when they start playing some of these middle-of-the-road teams when it comes to skill level, they should be able to pick up a lot of sets of 3 points, just like EL and Karen Tigers did.
You know, in the beginning, I wasn't really sure how I felt about this season where we have the double headers, right? But now that we're kind of getting into the bulk of it, it seems like it allows teams to catch up a lot faster.
Yeah.
And at the same time kind of motivate you to practice heavily for one day as opposed to, yeah.
I have to agree. I really have to agree. And I really like it because it also gives some teams like their day, to showcase their skills.
Yeah.
And as commentators as well, especially for these other teams like the Super Noobs, which we've seen very little of this season, it's my day to be like, oh, these guys are really good. They're playing their double match today, and we're going to get to see their skill assessed, like very, very much so.
Yeah, and it's again with the change because we have the 4 maps and not the 2 maps anymore, and we don't get to see them play. Their playstyle, attack on one map and defense on the other. We're really getting to see a very big variety of how they're progressing.
Right, we get to see like the more developed plays over like on Himmelsdorf. We will get to see 4 times, most likely because Himmelsdorf will 100% be picked in the 3rd series, and so we actually get to see those 4 Himmelsdorf games and not just the 2 from these guys. And then who knows when we see them again? Maybe it's next week, maybe it's 3 days later. But now with the doubleheader format, I think every team has a chance to show themselves multiple games. I'm really excited about it. So.
All right. Well, I think all the issues have been sorted, and we may go ahead and get into the game. So here we go. All right, guys, here we go for real this time. Set number 5, B Gaming versus Super Noobs, and we have B Gaming on the attack.
Well, B Gaming's offender, I found him. It was Tamati, or excuse me, not Tamati, Taki. accidentally picked STB1 instead of an Object 140, so they're only running 2 STB1s. So that was the mess up there. Well, already these tanks are roaming as a group, and this is what we expected to see from B Gaming. Now, Super Noobs will probably kind of spread out as they get closer to that town. It looks like that town might end up being, or the village, whatever you want to call it, might end up being our battleground here.
It might be. The Batshot go ahead, and NT Lock is going to head over closest to B Gaming. He wants to scope out where everyone is. Oh, but he gets a little too close.
Yeah, if he gets taken out first, that's a lot of damage lost. Yeah.
That is a lot of damage lost. If that Batshot went down, Super Noobs would have been definitely at a disadvantage there.
All right, well, you gotta be careful around this lake. It's one of the hardest. It's like a pond, I guess, more than a lake, but it's one of the hardest places to maneuver. As you guys can see, a wider shot of it now. Super Roshi being careful here. Samo gets killed,
does go down very fast.
And that's not good news for B Gaming fans. It was one of their tier 9s, so they will be able to survive a bit longer. Hien now under fire. He's going to be able to quickly zip out of there with that RU-251. Taki living life on the edge over here with 7mm.
All right, well, it just seems everyone is trying to find the right position here. NT Lock is going to go down as Tamati shoots him on a drive-by. Shells to the face.
All right, well, I mean, this is much better trades for for Super Noobs than it is for B Gaming. It's much more efficient, is what I was trying to say, that I almost said team efficiency. This is the railroad track sort of engage that I always talk about. But I was just going to say, with a bigger tank advantage for Super Noobs, they can just run over the tracks, and that's exactly what we're going to see here.
Right, the railroad tracks in the village are definitely a lot low. Yeah, it's the flattest there than it is somewhere else. Tamati does go down. Looks like Super Hiroshi may be the next one. Oh, the last does go down with him. However, now we are again at a 2v5 situation, and doesn't look like B Gaming is really going to be able to make it out of here. Super Noobs may take this series 5-0 in a couple of minutes here.
Maybe even seconds. Hien looking to take some shots at 7mm with Ironhide support. It looks like he takes a shot at Taki instead. And he's just going to roam around Taki. Taki looking elsewhere. One more shot will finish him. They're just going to ignore him for now and go for 7mm.
Oh, yeah. 7mm is the last.
This is going to be a really basic, simple brawl
that
ends up in Super Noob's favor.
Yeah, that looked absolutely scary. Imagine being him taking your tank down the road and knowing that you have 5 turrets facing at you. I mean, that's
very terrifying indeed, and that is going to be the end of that series. We had a little bit of a downtime before we got to that final game, but Super Noobs played better on Prokhorovka there in the end. Better focus fire, better combat in a 7v7. Despite the fact that I personally liked the lineup of B Gaming on that map, it just didn't matter at the end of the day.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take another 10-minute break, and when we come back, Super Noobs, we're going to have to see if they can continue their win streak or not. So we'll see you in just a bit.
Do it! Let's go. Let's go. They've killed a friendly.
Welcome back, everyone, to the third matchup of the day. We have Horsemen versus Super Noobs. Super Noobs are on a 5-0 win streak, so we're going to have to see if they can continue that.
That's right. I mean, they did just crush B Gaming, which was a bit odd to me. I didn't expect such a one-sided battle. But Horsemen had an incredible run. Hopefully you guys heard that through Susie's mic, because I made the biggest mistake of all production history. I just wasn't even wearing my mic. Whoa, that just happened. All right, so let me just start over. Like you just said, B Gaming was on it, or rather, Super
Noobs are on a 5.
Super Noobs 5-0. I'm a bit flustered. 5-0 on a tear. But Horsemen just defeated Karen Tiger in tiebreaker and took 3 games off of EL Gaming. So I have to say, I highly favor Horsemen going into the series.
I don't know, Super Noobs though. I mean, I did watch some of the games. This is Horsemen's 3rd game now of this of the Gold Series Season 2. But Super Noobs are on a run. I mean, that momentum, that kind of that really helps a team continue on a win streak. So we're gonna have to see how this next game pans out first. But you know what? Let's go ahead and introduce the Horsemen to you. So here are the Horsemen. Here are the guys that we have seen several times. Faluso, Archon. We have Gorilla, Meat Bun, Nunn, Just Rex, and Spencer Sidonia, Tommy. I mean, these are guys that we've seen all through last season and into this one.
Dark DH Master being a great new player for Horsemen. He really pulled his weight, just previously on Thursday. So someone to look out for sure. And this is a solid team that has just gotten even better during the downtime. They picked up some new members that have come in and played every now and then. Dark DH Master definitely the one that comes to mind the most. And these guys are a scary team. And I feel like with their performance versus Karen Tiger, as well as EL Gaming, where they were actually leading versus EL Gaming for several games, I like their chances here. But I think this match could go either way, and it could go into a longer series.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and introduce the Super Noobs to you again as well. Like you said, you really like that logo with the wings, the die, the S and N.
Yeah, the only thing it's missing is the S on the end of Super Noob. Otherwise, I think that logo is basically perfect.
Super Noobs. Oh, yeah, you're right. There's a graphical, whatever. It still looks really awesome.
You had to fit them all into that flag. I get it. It's fine.
All right, well, I mean, we've been seeing Ironhide, taking those capture points very well. NT Lock playing superb, just being MVP of some of these games. And as well as Ricky, Tangamroy, and Kongsun really pulling their weight as well.
Yeah, I have to say NT Lock was my favorite. He played incredibly well. And, Tangamroy as well, some great autoloader moves. These guys really just played quite well when the pressure was on. And as I said before, I feel like I almost decided in my brain, like, this is the smartest team we've seen. Maybe not the best mechanics, maybe not the most standard, but they can turn a bad situation into a good one in a flash. So decisive, very few mistakes, really cool.
All right, well, going into this final match of the evening, we have our map list. We have Himmelsdorf first, then we have Ghost Town, Ruinberg. Welcome back, Ruinberg. And Mines, then, as
Cliff.
always, tiebreaker map, Cliff.
Well, this means that this time we're not going to be seeing any Prokhorovka, unfortunately for those Prokhorovka fans, but fortunately for Susie's voice. Now, Himmelsdorf and Ghost Town, though, still number 1 and number 2 in the map list, so we knew we were going to see at least 2 more games on Himmelsdorf, and that's going to be the slower one. Let's see how Super Noob plays this one out when they're up against Horsemen, a team that plays very differently than how B Gaming, I think, showed us in that last series, bringing that the tank destroyer with Tamati, also bringing the tortoise. Some weird plays.
All right, well, without further ado, let's get into game number 1. Welcome back to beautiful Himmelsdorf, guys. Set number 1, Horsemen versus the Super Noobs. Horsemen are going to attack first, and here are our tanks.
So we're going to see for Horsemen a 50B, 3 E100s, an E3, an E100, the tank destroyer, and a 1390 old school. That's pretty good on the attack because it can fit in that corner cap pretty nice. For Super Noobs on the defense, they've got an E100 and an IS4, both of the corner cap deniers. Check. They've got an IS7. They've got railroad blocker. Check. They've got tank destroyer on Sunbow. They've got 2 Conquerors, EL style. And their last tank, really, that I haven't mentioned is their 50B, which is going to be for some extra damage. Spencer's going to go up here and poke into this little hole, see what he can find. He's going to use his little periscope to see if he can find any tanks in the courtyard.
Yep. All right. Well, the JPE 100 here, I mean, it's definitely a tank that you only see here on Himmelsdorf, really, because it's so massive.
Yeah.
But hopefully, look at it.
I mean, it's a weird tank. We've seen it a few times on this map. It can have great success, but very slow play so far from Horsemen. Not even really going to push that far up the castle because we've seen so many counter plays to that on the defensive side recently.
Yeah, they are kind of just staying around. Ooh, Ricky is going to take that first blow. It looks like Horsemen are on the mini-map. You can see they're just kind of sticking around their spawn point, just going to play very defensively, trying to figure out what's the best course of action to attack.
Gorilla's trying to take Ricky out, man. 2 shots in a row at Ricky. The first one connected, the second one did not. But on that E3, a Conqueror is not going to be able to take more than 4 of those shots, so you got to get that out of there.
Yep, and we can see now they are going to go to the train station side, kind of seeing if any of the tanks are over, any horsemen are over by base capture number 2, but as of right now, horsemen are not budging. They're just kind of sit around. Spencer on that 1390. He'll zip around a bit, maybe scout a little, get some information for his teammates. But as of right now, yeah, horsemen sitting pretty.
Yeah, a very calm game here from the horsemen. And everyone is really bunched up on capture point number 2, super noobs wise. They don't have anyone watching that central road. There's a Conqueror nearby. But it looks like we're going to finally see a little bit of a push up the castle side from the horsemen. Spencer leading that charge. He's quick, so he can poke around the corner or just simply drive around the corner and possibly avoid that damage.
Yeah, I like how Ironhide, again, sitting in that base capture. That's where he likes to be. Ironhide sitting on that IS-4. But again, quiet game. It is 7 minutes and 16 seconds into this round.
Yeah.
And thunder
It's
rumbles.
the thunder rolls,
yeah.
the little riffs of the guitar going in the background as we got this slow start. But not a single point of damage put onto the horseman yet.
Okay, Kong Sun has his sixth sense go off. What's he gonna do with it?
Spencer looking for a shot here too. So risky. Ironhide sees him.
Yep, and he misses.
He literally dodged a shell there. He like barely got out of the way. That was crazy.
That was pretty crazy, but now he knows. He's like, Gorilla, come back here. I need your help, dude. He's going to call him over. And again, 6 minutes, 28 seconds.
Yeah.
Horsemen are just going to run at the clock until they absolutely need to do something, perhaps catch the Super Noobs off guard. But so far, we've seen Super Noobs being able to respond very quickly to whatever situation that they're thrown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is really, really, really patient play out of the horsemen. I'm not too worried about it yet, but in maybe like a minute and a half, when we get at like 4:30, that's when we starting to worry a little bit about this. Because I think the Super Noobs are looking at this saying, well, you know, we've taken a lot of damage on 2 of our members, but I think it's not as significant as how much of the clock we've been able to run down. And this is the map where the time really matters the most, because this is the slowest map in the pool, the map where we see the time approach running out most of the time.
All right. Okay, so on the mini-map, we can see Super Noobs all bunched up on top by base capture number 2. And slowly but surely, the horsemen are going to start their way towards that base capture.
They're leading the charge with E100s, and then the rest of the autoloaders are going to come down from the castle side. This is cool. It's pretty brave, but we did see something similar to this by the Super Noobs themselves. Now, the camera's on Ironhide here because he's got 2 important things to look at. And see, he looks away for 1 second and gets punished by these E100s.
Yeah, there's definitely a tank coming down the castle side, but also through this little tiny window.
Yeah. We need to think of a name for that. I mean, obviously that's the corner, but like the
There's 2 corners, Wolf.
yeah, well the like narrow slit that you can actually aim down. I wish we had a better name for that.
Yeah, Ironhide is getting hit.
He's getting his Ironhide tan.
Har, har, har.
Taking another shot though, and Spencer's coming down. Uh-oh.
Yep.
They're going to take control of this location.
I think they will, and I don't know where the rest of his teammates are to give some cover fire.
Don't forget that Spencer can actually hide in that corner very safely because he's in that 1390. It's tiny. So he could actually just go in there in a second, especially if Ironhide dies.
And this is really smart by Horsemen to be able to shoot and finish off Ironhide without showing their face, because as you can see, Kong Sun and Ricky, they would have a pretty open shot if Spencer or none just decide to peek their tanks out.
A bit surprised. I was going to say, a bit surprised that Spencer doesn't actually get in that capture point because he could fit.
I think he has
now
started it. Yep.
He's basically trying to bait Ironhide, like, yeah, take a shot at me.
There
I'll
he
shoot
is.
first and kill you.
In the picture-in-picture, you can see Spencer sitting inside the capture point now. Hien takes a bit of damage as well.
And, ooh, taking a bit more damage, even a great shot there. Jesrek's going to angle away.
Yeah.
Ooh, Spencer dodges the bullet on that one. And Ironhide got another shot in a second. Is he going to take it? He's going to try for it. Nunn is also giving some backup.
Hien does go down, as we can see here, but on the mini map, the picture-in-picture, you can see Spencer is completely safe. He's sitting there 56 seconds down on the clock.
Ironhide just can't get a shot on him. He can hit Nunn, but it doesn't matter because that's not who he needs to hit.
Yep, and one more shot on Ironhide as well. He would be done and out for the count.
This actually might be like the slowest successful base capture of all time if they don't stop him.
I'm not sure. Okay, Spencer is all left alone now. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but as Kongsun comes out to try to hit Faluso, he's just going to get hit by Just Rex from the other road.
These E100s are being so valuable because they're, well, as I say that, 2 E100s don't actually penetrate, but these E100s have been so valuable because they are doing consistent damage.
Oh, and Ironhide does finally go down. Base capture is still going.
18 seconds left. They really need to force their way in. NT-Lock is going to be the one, but Nunn's going to come and block. And he's not only is he blocking, he's making the timer go down faster. And he's going to block here. This is so smart.
Wow, 2, 1.
Oh, look at him block!
Oh, that was
he blocks it, but
really well done.
he doesn't hit. And he comes in, 2 seconds left. 2 seconds left. Here comes Sunboho.
Oh, Spencer does go down, and they don't capture the base.
But they've got such good trades out of that, I don't think it's going to matter. But they have to kill the rest of the tanks in 1 minute and 50 seconds, or they have to capture the points. They need to get some tanks on that point. Kongsun is now down to about 1/3 health left. And I'd say it's about time to get Ricky out of there. He might be their win condition. He might be able to escape. Because they're not capping. Only 1 minute and 30 left. That Conqueror is like the last thing they're going to have left.
Oh my gosh, there's
Ricky.
only 2. Yeah, Ricky.
He's the last
I was
man
going to say
standing
there are
now.
only 2 tanks left, but no, Ricky is the last one standing, and it's not going to fare very well for him.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually just going to win by capture.
They don't even want to bother with him.
They've got one E100 going around the back just to get that kill confirmed, I guess. It looks like Gorilla actually is going to be the one. Oh, poor Ricky. Tough call, man. What do you do?
What do you do when you're in this situation? You just kind of sit there and get blown up. Okay, that's exactly what you do. So
Horsemen take
Horsemen,
it.
yeah, and they're going to break that win streak. And Horsemen up 1 to Super Noob 0.
That's right, and that was actually basically the most patient, successful base capture of all time.
That was very,
It wasn't
very
a win
close,
by
yeah.
base capture, but it was, I mean, we went down to like 2 seconds there at the end. Great positioning on the E100 to block him every time. And because they forced that situation, even though they eventually did kill Spencer, it didn't matter because what it required them to do made them lose so many hit points on so many important tanks. That was just Horsemen eventually forcing the issue by corner cap, and Super Noobs, despite being so decisive versus B Gaming, were not able to make a decisive move against this formation. They weren't sure what to do, and it's odd because everything I just saw from them versus B Gaming would make me feel like they would have been much more decisive, much faster. They would have had a plan, they would have had an idea, but they just simply didn't there.
All right, well, they're going to switch sides now, and perhaps this game won't be... this game might go a little bit faster. That's my assumption. But yeah, they're going to switch sides, which brings us to Horsemen on the defense. And like we said, however, if they do play the patient game again, it'll definitely be to the Horsemen's advantage. And so we'll have to wait and see how that one's going to pan out.
Yeah, and let's see if Horsemen is going to play a little bit risky. They might do some funny strats like we saw them do just last Thursday. You know, hiding, doing some ambushes, invading the castle on defense. We saw them do that. They're really kind of all over the place when it comes to defense on this map these days. And I think I'd love to see them just kind of do something out of the box like they've been doing. If they play standard, they bring the Conquerors, they play like EL. That's also fine. But it's more fun to see the tricky stuff.
All right, so you like the tricky stuff. I like the big brawls. But hey, if they could emulate EL gaming, I think that's pretty beneficial for them as well. So yeah, we're just going to wait for the room to be empty, actually. For some reason, The lobby, they're still waiting for the game to finish, or the first one, so that we can get into the second one.
Yeah, everybody's getting back in, which means we might have had a player change for Super Noobs or something like that. Although everyone looks the same so far. Yeah, we had a really smooth, like, first 9 games of the day, and then suddenly things got a bit rough. But everyone's getting in eventually.
It usually happens towards the end of the evening, though. I mean, as it's pretty late here in Seoul, South Korea, as I'm sure it is for you guys watching.
Yeah, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock at night here, so I'll have you guys watching at, like, 1 hour earlier if you're, like, in the Southeast Asia region, or if you're watching in the States, it's really early in
I
the
don't
morning.
know, man. Time zones just. I had literally just flown in from San Francisco today. I went straight from a 12-hour flight, flew straight here to the studio, got my makeup done, and sat here.
I think it's like 7 a.m. in San Francisco right now, so imagine, like, you just didn't sleep and you stay up all night, and now it's 7 a.m.
That's pretty much where I am.
That's where you're at.
I am. I'm high on tanks. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay, guys, we're going to get ready and into game number 2. All right, guys, set number 2. Horsemen had taken that first one, and now it is the Super Noobs' time to be on the attack.
On the Super Noobs attack, let's see what they're rolling. 2 E100s, 2 215Bs, an IS-4, and the 50B. The T-54 lightweight is going to be Hien, running that one for extra scouting. Spencer is on his 1390 again, despite being on the defense. No Conqueror build. And for the E3 IS-7, that E100 tank destroyer with 3 E100s actually. So 3 E100s, and then the tank destroyer E100, an IS-7, an E3, and a 1390 is the total and full lineup for the Horsemen. So a more aggressive defense, and they're going to be using these E100s to deny base captures together. Ooh, Spencer taking a shot.
Ooh, Spencer does take that shot. He is back on that 1390. Oh, gosh. Oh, be careful, Spencer. I'm worried for you.
He'll be all right, at least for now.
At least for now.
Hien is looking for that shot through the grate, though. Spencer's not exposed, though. Ooh, he will be in just a second. He's got to be careful.
And Locke is looking for something to shoot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. NT Locke could find Spencer here.
Yeah, NT Locke is going to be up there. He's definitely got a good shot on Spencer, but Horsemen will provide backup by shooting up to the castle. All right, Horsemen, even though they are on the defense, and they're going to still do the same thing that they did before, where they just kind of hang out around their spawn point.
Yeah.
Waiting, and I like this. I like that they're covered the courtyard. We haven't seen this in a while, seeing the courtyard be contested.
It also covers the northern road of the courtyard. And if you have that corner, the top left corner, covered really well, you can actually cover the eastern road as well of the courtyard if they try to push through there, which has become more popular recently. A few shots connecting here with the Horsemen, though. Super Noobs taking a small hit point advantage.
All right, again, another patient game. But right now, Super Noobs seem to want to go ahead to the railroad side. Base capture number 1. And Horsemen, though, sitting there, and they are just getting ready. They're just waiting for Super Noobs to make that move so they can throw shells in their face.
Yeah. All right. The patient move out here, actually towards the west road. And they're going out to meet the Super Noobs. Super Noobs are heading in this direction overall, only leaving the E3 to block the corner capture point. And it looks like Hien is going to be the one who's kind of over near there, so they're not too worried about him.
Yeah, again, 7 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. And definitely they want to bring the fight over on this railroad section. Oh, Colin.
Colin, got to be careful.
Colin, you need to be careful.
Now, NT Locke is trying to find an angle during all of this as well. I don't think he's going to have much success because the Horsemen are so holed up in their spawn point, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
This could be an opportunity to take the railroad tracks by force. It's going to require the Super Noobs to move together, though. They are very spread out right now.
They are. It seems that right now they're trying to decide whether or not they want to go to base capture number 2 or 1. They're going to sit and possibly see what the better option is at this point, but unless they move together, I think it will be a very, very difficult fight.
Yeah, already Archon is looking down capture point number 1 on that IS-7, so going to be tough to just kind of waltz in there. Then everyone else will notice and sound the alarm and come over. Ooh, Antilog is dueling over here, and it's not going well. He needs to get back up that ramp. Get back up that ramp.
Be careful, dude. Mom mode like kicks in, and I'm all like, I don't want them to get hurt. Why can't they just shake hands and party in the courtyard? I don't think I'm cut out to be a caster where they're actually killing each other, and I just want them to be all friends. They should all just be super friends.
I think they are friends off camera, most of them, I would say. Probably practice together a lot when they're like, oh, we already had a round robin versus each other, let's practice now.
All right, this is interesting. So Ironhide just going to go straight down the middle, and there's obviously there are no members of Horsemen over there to shoot at him. He's going to go see what the best option is on this IS-4.
Yeah, I mean, he is an IS-4, so even if he gets hit by 1 or 2 tanks, it's not going to be the end of his life. So a very careful move up here. Base capture number 1, under capture currently by Hien. And there's still 5 minutes to go, so Super Noobs has a lot of time to work with this. They have a decent position here to protect Hien, but he's going to be the only one who's able to get in there right now. He's going to hide behind this little depot. And they really need to make sure that no one can approach him, because no one else is going to be able to go in there and support him. There's not going to be 2 tanks on the base capture.
Yes, well, here's the base capture going on the picture-in-picture. 75 seconds, and he's just hiding behind that depot.
Another attempt to hit him, unsuccessful.
Yep, that F2 position.
If this becomes a standoff, you know, I like Super Noob's positions here because it's hard to challenge Hien's position. He does actually get moved off and actually now gets hit.
He's going to be hit twice.
A big fight over here, though, where Gorilla is getting 3v1'd. He's going to have to get out of there. And Feluso, he's on an E100, so getting out of there for him is going to be a big challenge. He's a bit slow.
All right, here we go. Yes, now the brawl has begun, where we are going to just trade shells and hope that they penetrate.
Down goes Feluso.
There he goes.
Gorilla is going to follow suit, I think. This is a really bad position for the Horsemen.
Oh, Gorilla does take some shots over onto Kongsun.
Both base captures being captured currently, but that's just because the AMX-50B is passing through base capture 2. And Jess Rex picks up a kill on that 215B, but Gorilla goes down, so a 1-for-1 trade there. Now, don't be misled too much by the hit point meter, as the tank lineup for the Super Noobs is just a bit beefier in hit points, but I still like their position. But Jess Rex and Nunn getting some good shots off here. 50 seconds left to go on the base capture.
Yep, and back into that position behind that depot, just very well covered as long as the rest of the teammates can keep the Horsemen at bay.
Ricky is also in a position where he could come into the base capture at the last second as well to ensure its capture. Jess Rex aiming here to get that ricochet. Notice he keeps turning at a 45-degree angle. Oh, but there's the reset on the base capture.
Yep.
That's a huge win here for Horsemen. But it's one of very many they will need.
All right, Spencer does go down. Just Rex also taking a big hit. And right now, Super Noobs definitely has the advantage.
All right, let's see if Jess Rex can make something happen here. Ironhide's going to block a shot. Jess Rex, what's he going to fire at? Oh, he's going to get killed before anything happens.
Yes, he is. And now it's Nunn versus Anti-Lock. Anti-Lock is going to try to finish that off. And it is basically a 2v6.
Yeah.
Super Noobs going to win the second map.
Yeah, it looks that way. I mean, there's not much that Colin and Archon can do together here to turn this one around. Colin goes down first. Archon is now the last IS-7 standing. And it's going to be an easy win here for the Super Noobs. Archon getting chipped away piece by piece.
There's really no point in him holding on at this point. I think he just needs to
let it go. There he goes.
There we go. He let it go. And now the Super Noobs does tie up the score. It is 1-1. And the next map is going to be on Ghost Town.
So Ghost Town will be map 2 with a tied score. Anything could happen here going into the second map. I feel like the Horsemen in that last set just took some extra damage they didn't need to take, and oftentimes were out of position where they were exposed. It was almost like a fencing match of tanks where like 1 second, like one side of a tank is exposed, and eventually they just kept finding these little tiny cracks in the armor of the Horsemen and brought them down. But a very close game nonetheless.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, and I don't think this is going to be a one-sided matchup like we've been seeing all evening. Super News have shown us how incredibly strong they are, and last week so did the Horsemen. So this is going to, I think this might go the distance.
All the way to a tiebreaker? Well, we saw it before. Horsemen, they did it. Karen Tiger and Horsemen both have a history of going to tiebreakers. We'll see if they can actually stop that from happening, the Super Noobs, if they can win it early. And just taking a look at the lobby, looks like everyone's going to be getting in here pretty soon. We might have a map VCR if it takes a little bit longer, so we can explain to you guys how this map works. We saw already unique strategies on it just earlier today.
Yep, and I know you guys keep laughing at us because we call that little area the school area, but that's the zone that gets, it looks like a school.
Look, it's a school. Everyone's like, I'm not really sure. No, it's a school, okay? It's 100% a school. Who lives in the ghost town? The ghosts live in the ghost town. That's why it's one of our spookier maps here in the pool. Yeah, I mean, we've explained this many times. I don't know why there's any confusion about this. There's the...
we like giving narrative and storyline to the maps, right?
Yeah, there's the northern capture point, which you can hide tanks behind if you have, your old T21 tanks. Was that
32s.
32s.
Yeah,
that's right.
T32s.
I was like, there's a 2 in there somewhere. The T32s, the tanks that take no damage in the front. They're going to just sit there and be fine. And that's one of the old strats. And we've been seeing, we saw some pancake tanks, those object tanks hiding in there before.
Yep.
But now it's been mostly combat around that zone or around the hallways, I call them hallways, the streets near that zone or near the center capture point.
Well, you're thinking schools now, right? Hallways
around the
of
school.
schools.
Yeah, well, school hallways.
By the lockers, you know.
Were you ever a hall monitor?
I was never a hall monitor.
Neither was I.
No. It was just too much responsibility.
Yeah, that's the tanks that end up being hall monitors on this map a lot of times 215Bs. Those are your hall monitors. You've got your E100s. Sometimes they got to monitor the streets, make sure everything's clean. If you're Tamati, you want to run a tank destroyer on this map. Not so sure if I think that he would have been the best hall monitor, but
he'd be one of the mean ones that like always brings you to the principal's office.
Yeah, so that can work out if you like always catch the really bad guys, because then they're like, wow, he's a great hall monitor. He was cleaning up the halls. But if he brings the innocent ones to the principal's office, that's too much.
That is too much. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the next game. Welcome, everyone, to Ghost Town again. It is Horsemen versus Super Noobs. Set number 3. Super Noobs are going to attack first, and the score is tied 1-1.
Okay, Dark DA Masters coming in on the 215B. It's actually 3 215Bs, 2 E100s, a Bat Chat, and a T54 Lightweight for the Horsemen. And for the Super Noobs, bring only 1 E100, 1 215B, an E5, a 50B, and the 25-ton Bat Chat with the Conquerors. And
Yeah, at this time, Super Noobs are not moving.
That's somewhat concerning.
That is concerning. We had this issue earlier. I think there's a bit of a disconnect or something like that. Yeah, I think there's going to be an issue.
Oh, Ricky's turret's moving. But
oh, Ricky's shooting, but that's about it. I'm not sure what the issue is. So once they give us more of an update, we will let you know. But game clock is ticking, and I see Horsemen running about town.
Sure. See, this is always the scariest thing of a technical problem. Remember last time we had the technical problem, found out immediately, and we left the game. But teams sometimes get upset when you reveal your strategy or your movements while something like this happens. Someone's like capturing the base, and then they're like, oh, they're not in the game. And the team's like, what? They're like,
yeah. What? How much do they see? Are they watching the whole thing? And then there's an issue. So
this becomes a more serious issue. Luckily for the Super Noobs, they did not get a warning in the previous series. That was actually B Gaming that got that. So I don't think any penalty points or anything like that's going to happen. But let's take a look at the map VCR to kind of give you guys a bigger overview of this map.
Right. Here it is. Ghost Town, the town where all the ghosts live.
Yeah.
And
it's, you know, it's one of those maps that's been, by most people believe this map to be totally abandoned, but we all know there are ghosts living in the city, studying at the school. But this is one of your capture points. It's the one on the outside where you can hide behind those ruins and try to take it and force the team to come outside, where you wait for them and blow them up as they leave the town.
Yep.
The other capture point, of course, will be at the school itself in the center, where you could use the school walls, the buildings, to protect the tanks that you rush straight to that capture point.
Yep, and as you guys can see, the spawning points for attack all the way on the east side and defense on the west. So they do start off completely on the other side of the map from one another. It is interesting because you have to really pick where you want to go.
Yeah.
And have your strategy really decided before you make any moves.
There's not a whole lot of scouting and then kind of switching your plan that goes on this map, which is why a lot of people, you know, don't like playing defense on this map, because you kind of guess where your opponent's going. If you're guessing wrong, you can rotate and you can defend. And we have seen teams win a lot, obviously, on defense, but it can be a frustrating thing when suddenly the attacking team just gets all their tanks quickly into that schoolyard, starts that capture point, and then you can't really break the defense, or you have to kind of suicide in trying. It's very difficult.
All right, well, looks like they are going to reconnect. It was Super Noobs who had the issue. We're going to get rid of Kong-san, and the last is going to come and take his place, I think.
Okay.
Again, the connection issues right now. But luckily, this is why teams have so many members on their roster, so that when we do have issues like this, they don't get disqualified and they can just find someone else to fill the spot.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And so I'm glad that they've got that. We're going to be pretty much ready to go into the game. Looks like Super Noobs say they are ready.
Oh, Just Rex is also out, and Dark DH is going to be coming.
Yeah, Dark DH was in the lobby last time, but it looks like he needs to be put back in. Horsemen are getting 100% confirmed that everyone's in the lobby.
Yep.
Okay,
So,
looks like everyone's ready.
ooh, I think we are ready to go then. Let's try that again, guys. Getting back onto Ghost Town. Like we said before, welcome back to the spookiest map there is. Horsemen versus Super Noobs, set number 3. Score is tied 1-1, and the tanks should be exactly the same.
Just looking at it. Yes. And yes. I mean, we already knew that, but I was just making sure no one was cheating.
I'm sure the observers were also looking for that, but yep, so here we go, and we can see both teams are moving. Wait.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Whew.
So
That is always a good sign.
we're going to see Spencer check up to the north, and the rest of the tanks are going to go and protect capture point number 2. With the 2 Conquerors that we've seen in the tank lineup, obviously a push towards the center is pretty likely. But they only have one E100, so I guess looking at the overall lineup, it's not like necessarily going to be the case.
All right, Spencer just gonna try to hide in that very scarce bush, and already the E100s have been spotted.
Yep.
Their sixth sense have gone off, and there's looks to be somewhat of a brawl right here in the center.
E100's blocking the path.
See this building here, guys? This is what we call the school here on your right.
Yep.
That's where that
And-
girl from like The Ring comes out. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's where like that one spooky teacher from your high school is like coming and telling you, like, I don't know, like I can't think of it, something.
you're in there with a ruler.
Yeah.
So you be careful of that. But
Again,
that brawl didn't happen. I expected it to definitely go down. You can see
thing about your teacher from your high school right now, but that one teacher that was like always scaring the kid that was asleep, like comes and like smacks a ruler at that one unsuspecting 215B.
there is a ghost saw and backed off. I think they're just kind of waiting for a better position.
They see the E100s here and they're like, well, breaking through this could be a disaster. Let's try to find another way.
And there's none. He's just kind of sitting and waiting, see what shot he can take. But
He's at a really good angle here as well. He's not going to take any damage if he gets hit on his head. Oh, Spencer taking a shot somewhere else, though. I think it was NT Lock that was able to connect with him.
That's what I would assume.
Oh, passively.
I mean, again, they're both very, very good teams. Like you said, Super Noobs have been complete. You know, Horsemen came and broke their win. Well, there's Spencer up all the way up top by base capture number 1 in that A5 position.
These teams are playing
Must be mad. Went ahead and tied it up, and neither of them want to make any mistakes.
I think I really have to give a massive edge to Horsemen in this particular game because of their positioning. I don't see how Horsemen could, or rather Super Noobs could break their position, their form up. They'd have to go all the way to the north, but they'd get spotted by Spencer, and it would take them a long time.
Well, Nunn and Colin just took a tiny bit of damage right now. Little by little, they're getting chipped away, while the Super Noobs are at 100% health.
They're going to sneak around the back. Faluso's waiting for something like this, but can he handle 3 tanks coming around?
I don't know. He's going to have to...
Okay. Well, sorry to interrupt you, but it looks like Dark DH Master and Archon are starting to realize this is potential as well.
I mean, right now, you guys can see, obviously Dark DH Master has no idea that the entire team right now is going to be coming down this road.
It's so hard to rotate on this map. There's so many obstacles in the way. There's so many hallways that can get covered. I keep saying hallways, streets that can be covered. So moving around like this takes a long time and is very dangerous.
It really does. Horsemen, again, playing very patiently. They are right at the center of the map. They're just going to surround base capture number 2 and hope that they'll be able to be in a perfect position to be able to take out these tanks that come to try to cap it. But 6 minutes left now of the game, and Super Noobs need to make a decision. Where are you going to go?
Well, looks like they're going again back around the back side of capture point number 2. Getting in there isn't going to be easy, but I think it might be their best bet. But they decide not to. They're going to just drive past it on the low ground. And the E100s are still there waiting for them.
They sure are, but they're not facing them. They're just going to sit there quietly, blocking off this road. Just making sure their turret's not faced towards them so that they don't get hit straight on.
Looks like they might try to go for capture point number 1 after all.
They only have 5 minutes and 20 seconds really to make that decision. Like we said earlier, I mean, this is a map where you kind of need to pick a place you want to go and stick with it.
This is simply because rotating is so hard, as we're seeing here. That's why I give Horsemen a big advantage, because they have all main pathways, all routes covered. And T-Log takes a shot on Spencer, but misses.
Yeah, Spencer just kind of sitting out there.
He's just trying to see,
yeah
exactly. He's being the eyes. And Super Noob's got 4 minutes and 50 seconds to try to get a better position here.
All right, here we go.
Not really.
Oh. I was so excited, Wolf. I really wanted...
Well, I mean, there's just a standoff here because it's hard for Conquerors to engage against 2 E100s in such good position. So it looks like, you know, they might have a big fight, but actually, no, they decide not to.
I mean, I guess that's smart on their end, but not so much fun for me. All right, guys, I understand. All right, Colin does take a little bit of damage as well. Like I said, Horseman just getting chipped off here and there a little bit, but all 7 tanks standing for both teams, and now here's the shoot-off that I want.
Conqueror's taking a lot of damage. It looks like they want to try to surround this position and take out these E100s, but look at these E100s covering for each other. Like 2 guys at a school, like trying to dodge, getting in trouble.
Oh, but there are 3 now. I think they're ready to push.
But here come the support. Or
yes.
Maybe not. They looked like they were going to come support, but now these guys are going to get totally overwhelmed. This is a very Super Noob-esque move.
Oh, wow.
Is to just commit in these tough situations.
Absolutely, and Colin definitely did not expect that. Didn't expect so many. 3 tanks to come. Oh, 4 of them to come around the corner. Faluso now is going to have to be careful because there are 4 turrets really focusing on him.
He's in an awkward spot with his treads too. He can't really escape without revealing more of his tank. He's just going to have to hold his ground.
And he's just kind of getting Oh gosh, he's already down
Ricky.
to half life, and Ricky's gonna go. Archon is probably going to be the next one down. That would be my guess.
This is still a close game. This is anyone's game. I want to give the edge to the Super Noobs, but down goes Archon. That gives them a further edge. Conqueror does go down. Ironhide, the Conqueror that goes down first. The last has 28 health left still. You know what? This could actually still be won by both sides. This is a crazy close game.
This is a really, really close game. At this point, it really is a free-for-all brawl. Spencer goes down, Dark 8DH. I mean, it is a 2v2, now a 1v1.
Well, 2v2, technically the last is still alive.
All right,
and
well,
Gorilla only has one shot
Badshot
left.
has one shell remaining, so he's going to have to make this count. And there it is.
Well, Intiloc's still alive, though, and he's on reload. They're both on reload. Now, if Gorilla can escape, well, I mean, they're both the same tank. They both have the same speed, so I don't think Gorilla's going to be able to escape.
Yes,
for
and Antilock
long
is going to...
He's going to reload
Yeah,
first.
he's going to reload it first.
Well, we're going to watch the sad thing here, guys. I'm so sorry, but Gorilla will be killed.
No, save the
will be
animals.
killed. He's being
Oh!
hunted. He survives for now, but down he goes. And there you have it. After a long, drawn-out game, the Super Noobs will take Game 3 and take a 2-1 lead. Whoa.
I don't even know what happened. I mean, that game, again, super patient throughout most of the time, and then come towards the end, push didn't happen, but then they just started all throwing shells at one another.
Well, the Super Noobs made a really decisive move, and the Super Noobs are like the best at breaking E100s. You put an E100 somewhere where it looks like they're never going to break it, Super Noobs are like, all right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got 4 of us. There's one E100 there. We go kill it. It's fine. In this case, it was like a 5v2. They killed the E100s. They've got those 2 tanks out of the way.
That was great,
and then
yeah.
all pathways are open, and you can have tanks coming in to support. Antilock was on point again with his auto-loading, not wasting his shots, not wasting his ammo, so he was more reloaded. There at the end, which was kind of like, he wasn't like planning for that moment, right? But he was more efficient, and that's why he ended up beating Gorilla there in that last battle. That was a really close fight regardless, though, and the Horsemen still had a chance to take it, but in those last moments, better accuracy, better control from the Super Noobs.
Super Noobs, for sure. Antilock, like you said, definitely MVP again. He just was able to make the best out of what he had. And yeah, now that we're going to switch sides again, Ghost Towner again, but this time, Horsemen on the attack.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can, have a quicker game or if they're going to play the same kind of slow pushing style. I feel like they're going to play slow based on what we saw from them, especially on Himmelsdorf. So these first 4 games have basically run us, about like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Or the first 3 games have run us about 30, and if the next game goes 10, it's going to be about like 40 minutes for these first 4. And I think that's fine.
I think it's interesting to see that kind of strategy, though, because, we watch some teams that like to just, from the gun, they get out and they just want to make sure that they are either fighting, brawling, or capturing a base point. Then we have teams like these two that just run the clock all the way down to like 4 minutes before any action begins. Why do you think they choose those kinds of strategies?
Well, I think the Horsemen are really respecting Super Noob's skill, and they're not willing to make any rash decisions or mistakes. I think the reason why the Super Noobs is so patient, of a team is because they know how to. Something clicks in them where they're like, all right, this is exactly what we have to do. We have to kill these 2 E100s, then we move in from the right side, and we just destroy all of them. And something goes from it's a totally 360 move where it's total passivity, no one's moving, no one's attacking, they've got 2 E100s there, let's not mess with that, to, all right, I know exactly how we can kill them in the most efficient way and win this fight even though we're down. And you see them suddenly snap into action mode. So I think that's kind of the 2 reasons why these teams are being a bit more passive in the early game.
I mean, maybe that's what it takes. They see the clock run down, they go, oh, all right, this is what we're going to do.
Things need to happen when that clock starts running down, that's for sure.
Yeah. But, I mean, Horsemen last season, we've definitely seen them be a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, last season we always joked that they were like a pack of horses roaming together around. But this season, a lot more patient. Really, I think trying to learn from EL and Karen Tiger.
Yeah, we'll see how they do in this next game. All right, guys, here we are back on Ghost Town, and it is Horsemen versus Super Noobs. Score is 1 versus 2, and yep, here are the tanks.
Alrighty, 2 E100s for Horsemen versus the 2 E100s of Super Noobs, so 2 apiece. 3 215Bs for Horsemen, 2 for the Super Noobs, but they're running a Bat Chat and 2 Conquerors, whereas the Horsemen are running a Bat Chat and the T-54 Lightweight. So,
all right, let's see if Horsemen are going to do what we know Horsemen to do. Travel together as a pack and go super aggressive.
they are so far doing just that.
I mean,
towards
it's
the
minus,
south.
right, minus Spencer. He's obviously on the lightweight. He doesn't want to be slowed down.
He's
but-
going to try to engage NT-Log before his first reload
Wow,
is set.
yeah.
And they're actually going to try to burst him down. This is actually just good planning by Horsemen, knowing that he's pushed this way every time, and they're going to abuse that and assassinate
Perfect,
him.
yes, and getting rid of that autoloader, I think is going to really help out the Horsemen in the long run. Very well done.
And that gives them a pretty big advantage. Unfortunately, the one weakness of this push is that now they don't have a decisive lead when it comes to positioning their tanks in the capture point 2. They can use these E100s on the attack, even defensively, to block off the path that the Super Noobs might try to use to catch them here. It's going to protect them as they go totally around. This is going to be almost side swapped here for these two teams.
Yeah, that's that's really interesting to see. Again, Horsemen just really traveling as a pack once more. I like the fact that Spencer is out there letting his teammates know exactly where they can go and where they shouldn't. While Super Noobs, they're going to do the same. On the minimap, you can see that everyone is together.
Yeah. Ironhide took a bit of damage there. And very slow push up here from Archon. Ricky's going to stick his head out.
Ricky is seen, though. He takes a bit of damage right now. And he does try to aim for Archon and or Dark DH.
Spencer looks like he's...
really...
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. Spencer looks like he's going
oh,
to be dead
he's in
here.
trouble, yep.
2 members of the Horsemen in the base capture currently with a lot of 215B support. This is pretty cool. This is the more normal way. We used to see this map run just a little bit faster usually. So they basically did a slower version of putting the 2 E100s, or in the past IS-3s we saw, with some supporting tanks.
Yeah, I like this. I like this. 27 seconds left on the base capture, and yeah, the 215Bs are just going to sit there and try to provide cover fire. Kongsun does come over with the E100, tries to get that timer restarted. Doing a pretty good job about it.
Hitting right through that crane there in the middle.
Yeah,
A really
and
great
there's
shot.
Sunbow on the other side. Base capture keeps going down. Ooh.
This is starting to look bad for the Horsemen. They're not getting any
It
good
sure
trades out
does.
of this.
They're gonna need to go ahead and try to connect themselves. All right.
Conroy goes down, but that's not the most important tank they need to be killing right now. Dark DH Master needs to be protected. Can he get back? Oh, he gets one more shot off of him, but he will escape. That's a nice little rotation there.
Right, but while we're talking about that, I mean, Super Noobs are down to 4 tanks now. This brawl has definitely begun. This is the Horseman, I know.
That was
and
a
I
really
love-
cool rotation. We're going to see another one to save Ricky here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if they can kill Archon. It's all about the angle. Look at that Kongsun turning his turret just the right way.
Oh, Archon does go down. Ricky just survives with 382 HP. It is a 3v4 at this point.
Sunbow in a good angle as well here. I think this is just going to be a win for the Super Noobs.
I think so too. Very good positioning and able to back out when they're needed. Horsemen just kind of were in a bad place.
Yeah.
Wrong place at the wrong time. And they just had no space to run away, basically. Colin goes down. Gorilla is the last one left
Yeah, and he's on a bat chat alone
with 120 HP.
on the attack. It's not going to be a pretty situation here for Gorilla. He has to kill 4 tanks in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. He's never going to get base capture. That's never going to happen.
All by himself with 4 tanks coming at him.
Yeah. No.
Maybe in his own, like, alternate universe Fantasyland.
Our observer computer like swapped, so I'm not sure if he has his ammo available or not. Okay, yeah, he does.
Yeah, there we go. Now we can see it.
So yeah, he's got all 5 shots available, but he's gonna have to be like a 6 sniper.
From far away. He needs to be a ninja.
Super noobs are like, well, I mean, I guess if we don't kill him, like, we win in 5 minutes. Let's just chase
But do
him
they
down.
really want to sit here for 5 minutes while this bad shot's just driving around town?
Well, I mean, they definitely don't, but I mean, they're not pressured. Whereas Gorilla has to, if he hides, he can't win that way. You
No,
know,
he
he has to
can't.
actually kill all of them, which is never gonna happen. He's playing sneaky though. You know, look at this.
Oh, wow.
Down he goes.
That wasn't sneaky enough.
Not sneaky enough, and this will put Super Noobs at a 3-1 lead. Just the better fights there in that last game, and the better positioning overall. The Horsemen had a cool strategy. They took out the autoloader early on, and then they were able to, you know, basically circumvent the map, get into a decent position in the capture point.
That was really promising, I have to say.
And it's standard, too. I mean, they did it in a different roundabout way. They approached from the left side after killing that autoloader. They kind of roamed as 7, as the Horsemen like to do. But then once they were in the capture point, the Super Noobs surrounded them, and they were trying to set their E100s to have good angles, but they just couldn't get the angles they wanted, and it just didn't work out there.
Yeah, they didn't get the angles they wanted, and then they just didn't have enough space to really maneuver themselves out of the bad positioning that they were in. So, yeah, Super Noobs, again, just rotating a little bit better and having a little bit better accuracy and better positioning to win out this game.
Yeah.
They found their groove again.
They did.
Yep.
And once you get caught in that center capture point with just a few E100s, you've got a few tanks supporting on one side, your weakness is the other sides where you're not supported, and the E100s aren't supporting those sides either, and you get overwhelmed, and then, like you said, you have nowhere to retreat from. And we saw that slow eventual wear down of the Horsemen at the end of all things. And then again, it became a very close fight, but the better accuracy and the better mechanics, it looks like, is going to the Super Noobs today.
All right, well, next map is Ruinberg. We haven't seen this one in quite a bit.
Yeah, we saw it a little bit just on, last Thursday. Just a little bit of games on it, but we haven't seen it very much, a lot less often than we saw it last season. The teams that really liked it last season were TCSG and Run, both teams that are no longer in this league. They've dropped down out of the Gold Series, so that's why we're seeing it less, but it does every now and then permeate the map roster. So I'm wondering what kind of games we're going to see here, because both these teams are playing very passive. Ruinberg notoriously being a more brawl-oriented map, how this one's going to play out.
Super Noobs are on the attack first. And, you know, considering this is their momentum, they are definitely got their groove going. I feel like they may go aggressive, or just continue playing this super drawn out patient game.
Well, a lot of teams have been actually attacking the north capture point, something that was never seen before last season. It was always about escaping the city, as I used to always say, going down to the bottom right, taking the corner, like sneaking all the way around the out of bounds line even, and trying to get down to that location. Now we've been seeing some teams push the top capture point. So we're seeing IS-7s, IS-4s, and even a few times we saw the MAUs looking down that location to try to protect it. But we'll see how Horsemen and Super Noobs want to push this one, because we, again, don't have that much information about how teams are playing this map yet. We've seen it very few times, and Super Noobs, we've never seen them play on this map, so in the new format.
All right, well, looks like the game is loaded, and we can get right into game number 5.
Yes.
Welcome to set number 5, Horsemen versus Super Noobs, and Super Noobs are up 3 to Horsemen's 1. They're going to be on the attack first.
So for the Horsemen, they've got an IS-7 to watch that northern cap, it looks like. They're going to bring 2 215Bs, the autoloader, and 2 T-54s. Whereas the Super Noobs are going to bring a lot of Object 140s to get out of that city as quickly as possible. And it looks like they're playing this one a little bit more standard, bringing the Bat Chat for the autoloader damage, the 2 E5s for just a little bit more bang for the buck when it comes to a big fight if need be. And they're splitting off into 2 different groups as they exit this city.
Oh, wow, Kongson already getting a little bit of damage. He was focus fired there. Horsemen want to get as much of an advantage early on as possible. See how much they can chip off members of the other team.
Yeah, and already 2 tanks in the capture point. See if this bodes well. I think this is just simply a coincidence because that's the position they want to be in. But that does add some extra pressure.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they just run in there to pretend like they're just kind of running through, but they're actually base capturing this.
Well, NT Lock and Ironhide are going to help protect and do a ton of damage.
Absolutely. Dark 8 DH Master goes down very, very fast. Spencer needs to be careful as well as he's kind of dancing around.
Yeah, the rest of the tanks are kind of like all clogged up, unable to go down the street. So Colin is the man they have to call upon here to come in on that IS-7, and that's not really his role on the IS-7, but he's like emergency sent to deal with those tanks on the base capture.
Absolutely
he's not doing well.
No, he's not. He's just kind of getting hit left and right. Ooh, there was 10 seconds left on that base. Gorilla does manage to reset the timer, which is great for him, but leaves him way open.
Yeah, and this is actually a crazy game because this almost turns the idea of base, like when you say
base race.
Yeah, well, when you say base rushing and base race kind of rush pushes like this are bad if you get denied. Even once, this kind of turns that idea on its head because they're just going to fight while in the base capture.
Yeah, and if Kongson can just join them in this base right now, I think that might be very beneficial.
If Colin goes down, it's a huge win. But you know he's still
Colin
alive.
Colin does go down. Sunbow is the last one left, though, and there he goes.
Now it's going to be a 4v2. Looks like the Horsemen have turned this around and taken it.
They absolutely have.
It's not over yet. Archon has to reload, which means he's going to die here almost 100% as soon as that shot is available.
That didn't penetrate all the way. Kongsun, careful, dude. One more shot and see if he can do it.
One for one trail on the other side of the map,
Yeah.
which means now it's going to be a 1v2. None has his rounds available. Horseman's on the defense, so they have that advantage here as well. This could go either way, but Kongsun has to kill Faluso first.
He needs to be very careful. Oh, he does get a good shot off, but he is getting focus fired by from 2 directions. That's not good when you have a fully loaded bat shot in your face.
That's right, and that should be enough to take him out here and bring us to a 2-3 score. Horsemen trying to catch up.
Wow. Again, that was very unlike Super Noobs to rush in there. That's what I thought they were going to do because they were like, you know, maybe we should just go ahead, catch them off guard. But maybe patience is key for this team.
We saw teams, I talked about the teams that picked this map, and those same teams did this strategy almost every time. Those teams were TCSG and Run. And we saw on Thursday, I keep on remember which day it was, one of the teams tried to do this too and failed. But it can work out sometimes. Obviously, Super Noob's a great team, professional team that knows what they're doing. They didn't just rush the capture point and try to sit in it and hope for the best. They fought in the capture point, which gave some extra pressure, which meant that Horsemen needed to respond faster, which caused problems for them. They had to send their IS-7 down, which is Colin, and he had a lot of problems getting down there in time, and he was too slow and almost got killed right away directly.
Do you think if they had 3 tanks or 4 in the capture point and fight from there, that would have made a difference?
I think it might have made it worse if they did that, because even though the capture point would have gone down slower, they would have had less angles to fire from, and they would have been more vulnerable in that regard. But maybe if they had 3 in there a little bit faster, that could have worked. Like not from the start, but after they got down to say like 18 seconds, maybe try to send a 3rd tank in there to help protect them. It's always hard to say, especially for us like on the outside looking in. You know, it looks easy. It looks like, oh yeah, if they had 3 tanks on there, that would have been good. But from their perspective, could they have known that that would have been the right thing? It's always hard to know.
Yeah, true. I mean, it was just a question I was thinking. There was only 2 tanks, and the timer was going down pretty quickly. Like you said, if it was down to about 15 seconds and they just threw a 3rd tank in there, that might have changed the game.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely could have been a possible, alternative strategy there through the middle part of that game. But we're going to go into our second and final map of Ruinberg.
Yep, Horsemen on the attack this time.
That's right.
And we're going to see if they're going to travel as a pack as we have seen them do before, or are they going to play it passively as Super Noobs didn't?
That's a good question. I think both teams are going to play a little bit more passively this time. I think the Horsemen are going to bring the Maus because that's what they did just on Thursday on this map on the defense to block off that capture point. We saw Super Noobs running in there. Or actually, I'm getting this backwards now because Horseman's on the attack. So
Horseman is on the attack.
they brought the IS-7 instead of the Maus this time. I think Super Noobs will probably bring the IS-7 instead of bringing the Maus to protect that northern capture point. But when everything else is said and done, it's going to be E5s and 215Bs.
Yeah, I can see
mixture
that.
of the two.
All right. Well, let's see how the game is going. I think everyone is ready, and we are just about loaded.
Yep, looks like it.
Looks like it. All right, here we go. Last game on Ruinberg. All right, guys, welcome back. Set number 6, Horseman versus Super Noobs, and Horseman went ahead and brought the score up 2-3. They're going to be on the attack.
All right, let's take a look at this. Horseman running 2 215Bs, an IS-7, a Bat Chat, 2 Object 140s, and a 1390. There's a lot of mobility in this lineup. Whereas we see that E100 Tank Destroyer on the side of Super Noobs, an IS-4.
Oh.
That might be the one that's the guardian of the northern
That
capture
is
point.
Ironhide. Did you really expect him to be on any other tank?
Good point. And then 2 T-54s to close out the lineup.
All right.
They have 2 215Bs that are in their lineup listed separately from the S4, so that's what threw me off there. So they do have 215Bs, 2 215Bs.
All right. So we have Horsemen here, minus the AMX 1390. We have the entire team, again, traveling as a pack, and they're going to go towards base capture number 2 and over to that little village section that's over by E0.
Yeah. I always forget that we have the grid.
Yeah.
The 1390 is going to step into the capture point, and there is NT Lock over there with Ironhide. In fact, he's just not stepping into it.
Wow, but on the other side, we've got Colin, Gorilla, and Archon. All 3 of them going to step into this one, so trying to divert the attention of the Super Noobs.
This is super interesting now, no pun intended. Let's see if the IS-7 can protect these 215Bs. This is really interesting. They don't have any tanks that can rotate back to help Spencer, so I don't think he's going to be a big concern. In fact, you could see him getting knocked off right away. And the Super Noobs are easily dealing with this 3-tank push here right now so far.
Colin does go off the capture point now. He needs to definitely get some cover, and they realize this plan didn't really work out to their advantage.
Archon is getting ripped apart by a tank destroyer.
Yeah, and apparently Gorilla has been ripped apart.
And Hien is like on a T-54 medium, just getting people shot from the half of the way across the world.
Super Noobs definitely in a better position right now. Horsemen were just a little too exposed.
Yeah, I mean that was haphazard. Like that, a picture of those 3 tanks and that capture point would have been the picture next to haphazard in the dictionary. Like this was just very, very aggressive. Now Hien does get ganged up on here for a minute.
I was gonna say they were just kind of all bumping into one another and shooting at one another as well, but in the end, it's still a 4v5 battle.
With the much better tank lineup going to the Super Noobs from what's left, Object 140s aren't going to be able to do much of a fight, and their mobility isn't going to be usul on the attack here.
Right,
either.
and both 215Bs are still up and running for the Super Noobs right now.
So let's see if Horseman can pull off a miracle here. I'd say the answer is probably no.
I'm going to say no right now, but you know what? We should probably take bets on who's going to be the first to die.
I'm going to go with Feluso.
I'm going to go with Colin. I don't know.
Well, you might be right, as Tangeroy does find an angle here, and so does Ironhide.
Ironhide, yeah, I think Ironhide is going to find that angle.
I thought Feluso and Dark DH were going to come down and join up the fight, but they're just going to let Colin die by himself.
Poor guy.
There he goes.
There he goes. I was right. What do I win?
A coffee. I'll get you a coffee.
Okay, that really works for me. All right, so we have none here on the reload, and I really wish we could see how many shells he's caught.
Yeah, I'm not sure what goes on with the UI like that, but that's been a bit weird bug today.
Yep. Oh, Dark DH Master is going to be focused on and blown up. There he goes. Feluso and none are the last 2 members standing for Horsemen.
Yep, and
I mean, Faluso's hiding in this bush. I don't think he's doing a very good job, to be honest.
Well, I mean, he's the game is already over basically. I think they're probably talking about the next game, to be honest, while they just sit around here, because there's no way that they can win. They're not going to be able to kill the rest of these tanks. The game is over, and unlike other esports titles, World of Tanks, you don't just type GG and leave. You do fight it out, and so we're going to see Faluso.
I feel like Faluso's really just trying to see if he can take people down with him, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Look at all. Oh gosh, that's just. He's
gone.
That breaks my heart.
Now none. A fully reloaded bat chat. How many tanks can he kill? I think the answer is none.
I think so too, against 5 of them. And again, we're in that situation where they're on the attack, you know, like him hiding doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, and he was going to try to go mess around with the first capture point, but guess what? NT-Lock is there.
NT-Lock is there.
If he kills NT-Lock, though, that could make things more interesting.
Possibly.
But he's not looking the right way.
Nope, and that's 1. That's
2,
1, 2.
3 will do it.
And 3. There we go. NT-Lock goes ahead and secures that win. Super Noobs takes game number 4.
Yep, now they're on match point.
Yep, they sure are. And we're going to head into Mines. Horsemen are on the attack again on Mines now.
Well, this could be a big, exciting, interesting brawl on the Mines territory, that little like high ground over there. Otherwise, we could see them slow play it, because at the beginning of the series, they were playing super slow and very patient, position-wise, you know, try to get a pick here or there. Oh, we can't go that way. Let's go the other way. We can't go that way. Let's go the other way. Nobody's going to fight. And then...
Do you think they're panicking?
Maybe. That was really strange what we just saw from Horsemen there.
Yeah.
That was really out there. You know, that was TCSG like level planning, you know. Like that was like, all right, well, what if we just send it 4 tanks to the capture point, 1 at the top and 3 at the bottom, and then we have a few tanks to support and they just don't hit us, or they don't take a good fight, well, then we can beat them that way. It's like they tried to emulate what the Super Noobs did just the game before, except they didn't do it. They just didn't do it at the same way at all. The Super Noobs slowly moved in, controlled the area, zoned them out, and then put 3 tanks into there while they already had control of that entire area. And also with Spencer to the top, they, you know, he drew the IS-7's attention away, sort of, but
sort of. I mean, there was the AMXB was up there as well.
That's true, yeah.
But at the same time, I mean.
Maybe Spencer went up there and he was like, all right, not only is the IS-7, but the AMX, 50B is up here. That's 2 tanks gone. They're going to focus on me. You guys can take a good fight to the bottom capture point. That must have been the idea there, but
I would assume so.
In thought, it seems like, in theory, it seems like that could work, but in practice, it just simply did not.
It was just the positioning. They were just way too open, sitting in that capture point, and not really capitalizing on that. I mean, they didn't even get that base capture down to like 15 seconds or anything like that. They were just kind of eliminated really fast, or at least resetting.
Yeah,
very
as the
quickly.
capture point got down to like 25, then they were all like had to leave the capture point. They were no longer threatening that way. They were on the retreat trying to regroup. I have to say, I felt like I said Super Noobs were like the smartest team ever. Their decision making, their decisiveness, really, really awesome. But what's really winning them these games versus Horsemen, I feel like, is their mechanics, their accuracy, you know, those types of moves.
We haven't seen Super Noobs play EL Gaming just yet, though.
That's right.
I got to see how they would fare against a top team like that.
That's what we'll have to wait and see, because, you know, Horsemen took several games off of EL, and are you sure? Did they not play the first day?
I don't know. That's what I'm looking right now.
They did play the first day, actually, and they took 1 game off of EL, I remember.
Oh,
that was our very first day.
You are very correct.
They took 1 game off of EL, and it was like the first game we were like, oh, what? And then EL won the rest like 5-1.
Super Noobs. Yeah, it was very, very first day. You are right.
But what we've already seen from Horsemen is they took several games off of EL, and now Super Noobs are taking a ton of games off of Horsemen. Might beat Horsemen. So, you know, these teams are very even in skill, a lot more even than what we had last season oftentimes.
All right, well, it looks like the game on Mines is ready. Let's go. All right, everyone, here we are, set number 7, Horsemen versus Super Noobs, and the Horsemen are going to be on the attack. This is Super Noobs' match point, though. If they win this, they go home with 3 points.
Horsemen are rolling
Wow.
a 6-sided die, but in each side of the die is an E5. No matter which tank you hit, it's going to be an E5, unless it's Spencer, who's on the T-54 lightweight. We saw them do this, actually, versus EL, and it worked. So this could work for them again, especially if Super Noobs actually go out to meet them. The Super Noobs is running a more well-rounded composition with a few Object 140s.
Well, it's the same, basically, yeah, like you said, it's the same composition, just with the 2 Object 140s, right? Almost as if they expected Horsemen to go with this, but they wanted 2 of the faster tanks.
Hold on.
Oh!
See, this is a bit strange. Well, hold that thought. We're going to have this is your exciting favorite moment,
Yes, this
Susie.
is the brawl moment!
All right, big engagement here. NT-Lock survives, but he's not going to be able to be relevant in the fight again for a little while. And better trades overall for sure for Horsemen.
Oh gosh, there's shells everywhere.
Lightweight battle over here, meanwhile.
The lightweight battle is going off on the side. We can see here on the mini-map, or the picture-in-picture, rather.
Yeah. Now, don't worry about the picture-in-picture cutting off the Horsemen tank, so they are winning the fight. Pretty massively here.
Just Rex does go down, though. That is the first casualty. Sunbow is the second one. That's a 1-4-1. And yeah, again, back and forth. Faluso takes a huge hit.
Yeah, and actually he's going to get hit here
yeah.
by Ironside. Faluso survives all of this, and they're actually spending way too much focus fire trying to kill him.
Yes.
This is what actually wins Horsemen the game.
This is really awesome how Archon and Nunn did a very good job trying to protect Faluso. Faluso does finally go down, but so does Konsan. It really is just like a 1-for-1. You just see tanks dropping from each side. Looks like Spencer lost the lightweight battle.
Oh my god, NT-Lock has 48 health left at the same time all this is happening. A hit point lead for Super Noobs. Are they going to win this? Ironhide goes down.
I don't even know. Ironhide goes down.
Don't forget, NT-Lock's still alive. And he's like still doing damage. He's making up for all that missed focus fire on Faluso. No way. Is this going to actually happen?
Wow, Ricky is going to go ahead and try to take out one of these 2.
And don't forget, Hien can give support, and he can come back at any time. Is this actually going to happen?
No way.
NT-Lock is the master. Oh my god, that just happened.
That just happened. Wow, NT-Lock goes ahead and gets the finishing blow. Super Noobs win the game.
I had already resigned that the Horsemen had won that game. I was like, no, they focused too much on Faluso, game's over, we can move on. No, NT-Lock's like, no, I got 48 hit points left, Wolf. I'm going to do 4,800 hit points worth of damage. They're never going to hit me. It was really important also that Hien won that battle with the T-54 lightweights because he could control that space.
Right.
He could always come back and support. They didn't even need him to because NT-Lock was like hitting every single shot, dodging shots, out positioning. Wow, that was cool.
That was really awesome. That was, again, I love it when the evening ends with a big brawl. That was so exciting for me. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's results. The very first matchup, we had Team Efficiency versus PvP Super Friends, and that was a 5-0 to Super Friends. Match number 2 was B Gaming versus Super Noobs. The Super Noobs taking that 5-0. And match number 3, this one was a bit closer. Horsemen versus Super Noobs, but Super Noobs still wins 5-2.
That's right, a very close match there, closer than even that score shows because so many of those games were very, very close, going down to 1v1s at times, especially on Ghost Town. But a good day of matches overall, exactly what I was hoping to see. Horsemen not disappointing, but Super Noobs beating them and also crushing B Gaming, proving that they are a force to be reckoned with. It's their, they're like, what, second game being played? The only game they've played?
This is the third, yeah. Third and fourth games, I think, now. And I'm really glad that we're going to see more of them and seeing their play style. Like you said, they're very smart in the way that they move. And, I think as the season progresses, maybe if they play against EL again, they might be able to do that.
I want to see Super Noobs versus Karen Tiger.
Ooh.
That's what I want to see. That's really what I want to see.
I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. Here are the rankings so far in this tournament. So we have EL Gaming with 18 points, like we had told you earlier. Karen Tiger with 13. We're now finally getting a definitive 1st to 7th place outline, I suppose.
Super Noobs jumping up to 3rd place with their 2 wins today on the heels of Karen Tiger, making that possible matchup in the future a really exciting idea. Horsemen, unfortunately, not able to pick up those 3 points they would have liked. That would have actually secured them a nice spot in 3rd. they've been able to defeat the Super Noobs. Or actually, they would have still been in fourth, 1 point behind, but very closer on their heels than they are now. But Horsemen still have a lot more games to go. So yeah, I mean, with the wins today, I think Super Noobs jumping up to the top is the big story.
PvP Super Friends finally putting 3 points on their board as well. And so Immortals and PvP Super Friends, they are tied for 5th. And so far, B Gaming and Team Efficiency have yet to win a game, but the season is long. It's only the 6th day, so we will have to continue to monitor these two teams and see how they do.
Yeah, I think B Gaming's big matchup, I believe, is next week, if I'm not mistaken. But B Gaming, I would have never expected them to be down this low after their really, really good performance last season. You know, just having a bit of a tougher time.
Yeah, well, hey, off seasons do that to people, right? And also, like we've been talking about, the tier system changes, the map changes,
So
a lot
totally
of
new
things.
format.
A lot of things went differently this time around. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going to happen on Thursday for the next matchup.
It is the B Gaming doubleheader.
Woo!
So
This is their time to redeem themselves.
yeah, and they actually have to play against Team Efficiency first, which I think they've got a good chance. But versus Horsemen, that's going to be pretty good. I'm kind of looking forward to that one.
All right, and then the last one's going to be Immortals versus the Super Noobs. Again, Immortals being like a 3rd place team, 3rd, 4th place team last season, and Super Noobs showing us today that they are definitely a strong team as well. So that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, that should be a really, really good match. I feel like if Team Efficiency really brings it, then we could have 3 super, super solid matches on Thursday.
Absolutely. So that's all going to be on Thursday, December 17th at 8 o'clock. That's UTC plus 8. And 9 o'clock if you are keeping track of Korean time, KST, it's 9 p.m.
So make sure you go watch Star Wars at the midnight release the day before so that you don't actually miss this one. Okay, don't watch it on the day of. Watch it on the midnight release before so you don't get spoiled. And then also you get to watch World of Tanks. I think you win-win.
All right. Well, on that note, we are going to bid you adieu, and we will see you again on Thursday. Bye.